The book is titled, Where Did the Towers Go? And it's very thorough, very detailed. What do you think happened to the towers?
This didn't look like a collapse. This doesn't make sense. Am I insane or is the rest of the world insane?
So what are you claiming?
Energy was manipulated differently than what we've seen before.
So energy was essentially directed and used as a weapon.
What they were doing is bringing in fresh dirt, putting it down the ground, stirring it around, taking it back out, bringing in more dirt.
So you're thinking they brought the dirt and the dirt wasn't there?
I've got pictures of the dirt trucks bringing dirt in.
Maybe they're comfortable with this theory. And
It's not a
his.
theory. I just talked about evidence.
What would be someone's motive to do what they did to 9/11?
9/11 was an attack on human consciousness. Since 9/11, people have not been thinking so clearly or so deeply. They hear something, oh, okay. People don't know what they're looking at. This Bible is there.
This Bible on the rock?
Yeah.
The Bible didn't burn.
Right, and it has formerly liquid metal fused to the page.
So you're wondering how he put it up there?
Oh, I'm not wondering.
You know how he did it?
Yeah.
Did you ever think you would make it? I feel I'm supposed to taste sweet victory. I know this life meant for me.
Adam, what's your point? The future looks bright.
Bet David.
My handshake is better than anything I ever saw. It's right here.
You are a one-of-one?
My son's right about
I
it.
don't think I've ever said this before.
So I think if you're like me, there's one event that we all remember we were at the last 30 years, and that's 9/11. I remember where I was at, and I was working on Morgan Stanley Dean Witter. I'm on the 8th floor, Morgan Stanley Dean Witter, Glendale, and then all of a sudden news comes out, oh my God, what's happened in 9/11? First plane hits, second one we see hit live, and then the rest of it's chaos, go home. It's insanity. Fast forward. We had 9/11, we celebrated the anniversary of it 4 days ago. Okay, which is now 24 years. It feels like it was yesterday, right? And as you go through this, it never gets old for me to want to keep learning more and more about what happened there. Most important thing is we got 2,753 victims who are no longer with us, of which 1,653 have been identified. The other 1,100, 40% till today, Dr. Judy Wood, have not been identified, right? So if that's my son, that's my family, friend, anybody that's emotionally connected to me, I want to find out what happened to them. So now, fast forward today. Today we have you on, Dr. Judy Wood. Your background, when I look at your background, okay, you got a BS in civil engineering, 1981, structural engineering, master's in engineering mechanics, applied physics. Then you got a PhD from Virginia Tech, professor, mechanical engineer. And you've done a bunch of different things, you know, your research, all these other things that you've done, forensic study, over 40,000 images on 9/11, what happened to it. And you have your own opinion on what happened there. I've had Richard Gage on in the past before. We've had certain guests on in the past that we got a strike for on YouTube. 9/11 World Trade Center, the towers, what happened to it, we got a strike for it. But with that being said, it's great to have you on the podcast today.
Well, thanks. I'm glad to be here.
Yes, and I think the audience who is also curious with this topic, our audience is generally very curious. They want to know what you think about it. So let me kind of walk through some of the options, and you tell me what you think happened to World Trade Center. Maybe give a little bit about your background, if you don't mind.
I would like to start out by saying when something like this happens, something this big, there are always three narratives that come out.
Please.
The first one is the official story.
Yep.
Second one is the official conspiracy theory,
Okay.
or a few alternatives. Third thing is the truth. And the best way to cover it up is to keep people arguing between the first two, round and round and round and round, so they forget to look at the evidence.
How you think we're at 3 yet, or we're not there yet?
I've only
truth.
looked at evidence.
You've looked at evidence.
That's all I look at, is
Okay.
evidence.
So then let me do this, because for all of us that are still trying to find out what happened to this, you know, this is just an event that happened all of a sudden, boom, let's move on. Don't worry about it. Don't look over there, right? We've all seen the documentaries, the movies, all of it. So some say planes brought them down, okay? Some claims are what people say. Number two is controlled demolition, thermite. You've heard about this, Richard Gage, explosive. 3 is missile, military planes. 4 is directed energy weapon, which is one of your claims.
No, it's not,
And I want to
it's
hear
not a claim.
I want to hear it. I want to hear what you have to say.
Yeah.
Then another one, smaller one, mini nuke hypothesis, inside insurance job, and structural weaknesses. What do you think happened to the towers?
Well, if you want to they keep people arguing around about theories, and if somebody doesn't have a theory, somebody assigns them one. And if you want to bring out the truth, and somebody doesn't want it to come out, what's the best way to cover up? Irrefutable evidence.
Okay.
You call it a theory. And then you mutate it some, and then, she talks about space beams, or she talks about hurricane powering the space beams. They have various things that get propagated around the internet. Pretty soon, people don't read my book, and they don't even know what's in it. But they go that route. What my book really is designed to do is to train people or retrain them.
May I show the book so the audience knows? The book is titled "Where Did the Towers Go?" Okay.
Yep.
And it's very thorough, very detailed. So,
it's empirical evidence.
Right, empirical evidence. So maybe walk through, what you think happened there. Just assume no one's heard you lecture on this before. Walk me through what you believe happened there.
But it is important to realize that people tend to jump on whatever they hear first. They don't know the difference between evidence and conspiracy theory. They don't know how to sort through it. And what I'd often, when I was be teaching experimental work, is to stress to the students: collect all the data you can. You don't have to use it all, but you can't use data you don't have. So, okay, let's look at everything. And maybe it means something, maybe it doesn't. Just because I have collected doesn't mean it's connected to this, that, and the other. And look at phenomena that you understand and ones you don't. And another way of blinding yourself, sort of a double-blind study, just to look at reality rather than immediately jumping to a conclusion. If you saw a hazy environment above the ground, a lot of people call it smoke. Well, then you're already assuming fire is the cause. Mm-hmm. But that's biasing your observation. So let's bring up a new vocabulary. I call it fumes. Could be chemical fumes, could be particulate. Who knows? It's not defined. Just like dustification. Let's see. A lot of people say it's evaporation. Well, evaporation implies high heat. We don't have proof of that. Crushing or pulverization. That's a mechanical force. They're making assumptions with those words. So if we start out with a new vocabulary, we can observe the physical phenomena going on.
Okay.
And that really helps to see what is there. One short story I'd like to put out is early on I had an artist write to me, so delighted that somebody was talking about what happened. And he explained why he could see it. He said in art class, the teacher taught him this discipline of seeing what's there by having like a wooden shelf where you couldn't see your hands, and drawing under that wooden shelf, draw what's over there. But you can't see your hands, so you have to look at the image and what distance do I pick up the pencil and put it back down? So you see the relationship of everything in the picture instead of just assuming what's... And I thought that was brilliant. It's a neat discipline. So to be able to do that with making observations, that's why I come up with this vocabulary. Like Cheetos, tortilla chips. You aren't going to confuse the debris with food. But it
Can we do this? Because I
identifies
want to organize you. Is what I want to do. Because when you're a genius like you, your brain is all over the place. My job is to try to deliver your message to a sixth grader, where they walk away, and you're speaking right now so far as if you're speaking to your own audience. So don't worry about the audience. Don't even look at your notes. I want to get the information from you. Don't look at your notes. I want you to be with me. You're speaking to a regular audience that's not out of your community.
Yep.
These are regular people like me. They don't have the degrees. They haven't gone and done the applying your expertise in material science, image analysis, and infrometry to a forensic study of over 40,000 images, hundreds of video clips, a large volume of witness testimony, analysis of dust samples, seismic data, and the analysis of other environmental evidence painting to the destruction of the World Trade Center complex. People haven't done that. The average person hasn't gone and filed a suit against the NIST contractors, right? We're alleging scientific fraud in the World Trade Center investigation. Later on, the case was dismissed, but the Second Circuit affirmed, and the U.S. Supreme Court docket shows your petition, which is the number 09/548. The average person hasn't gone that far to find the truth. What I want you to do is maybe walk us through simply. 9/11 World Trade Center happens, okay? A person like yourself, where your background is in what you do, what was your initial reaction? When did you become curious to want to investigate your own thing, and what were some of the things that happened afterwards?
Okay, thanks. The thing that I'm trying to emphasize is most people, when they see something, they may not see what's really there. How do you get yourself to see what is really there?
Can you stay with me and just stay with me? Just do me a favor.
Yeah, that's what this is about,
I understand
is
that. What I
seeing
want
what's in
you
the
to-
picture.
I get that. What I'm saying to you is, you're speaking to a regular audience, Dr. Judy. I want you to think. I just asked you, 9/11 happened, 2001. The world says, oh my God, weapons of mass destruction were attacked, George Bush, we're going, I'm going to join the military, right?
Okay.
What was the first reaction you had when you saw World Trade Center happen? What was your first reaction from your lens, how you view it?
This doesn't make sense. I was in the faculty conference room. They were showing this video on the TV set.
Yep.
I looked at it and went, they called it a collapse, and I'm thinking, what does a collapse look like? It was kind of like an avalanche. This part gets going, and it gets this part going, and more, and pretty soon the whole thing's going. It doesn't go 1, 2, 3, poof. This didn't look like a collapse. It's squirting up and out. It looks more like a drinking fountain, bubbler. And I looked around the faculty conference room and kind of like, you guys aren't buying this. Or they looked at me like, what kind of a wacko did we hire? That was a very weird feeling. Am I insane, or is the rest of the world insane?
So this is what you're telling. This is what all of us saw.
Yep. And you can follow some of those pieces coming down, and they dissolve before they hit the ground. The traffic lights you can still see.
Can you go from the beginning, Rob, the first 10 seconds? So this is where a Richard Gage and many from his community will say this was an explosion, thermite, right? Instead of maybe other claims. You're seeing this, you say, I don't believe what they're saying. What next necessary steps do you take to get to your conclusion?
It's not a collapse. A collapse is a kinetic energy driving it. You have something slamming to the ground. All right, let's go look at the seismic signal. If all that building got cut up by bombs or gravity collapse, it's going to be whacking to the ground. There is no discernible S or P wave in the seismic signal, only a surface wave, which is what you get like when you get off your mattress in the morning. It recovers. Your weight comes back up. Mm-hmm. There's no impact, like hitting a tuning fork. Or snap a rubber band. That's what the P wave should be. And it's the first signal to arrive at the seismic station, followed by the S wave, and the delay of those two is how they calculate the distance from the epicenter. I think people have heard that a lot. But there was no S wave or P wave. The signal did not travel through the Earth. It was only a surface wave. And the surface wave was not appropriate size. It was very small magnitude. Comparing to the King Dome and some other things, King Dome is like 1/30th. That's 1/30th, but made equal or more of a seismic signal, or the equivalent on the Richter scale. They calculate by the surface wave. So using the surface wave of the towers compared to the surface wave of the King Dome, it was the same. The towers were the same or less.
So what does that mean to you?
Something isn't right here. And then you later realized if King Kong picked up the towers, chucked them into outer space, it would do the same thing with a surface wave, because the weight was coming off the ground and the surface was bouncing back up like you get off your mattress in the morning. So with if you had bombs in the building or gravity collapse, whatever, this stuff's gonna hit the pavement. Well, let's go look at what's out there. What? No debris? There's vehicles parked at street level that are there after the towers go poof. See, I don't use the word collapse. That's got message to it. I say go poof, it went away. The towers went poof. A couple hours later, there's a picture I have of an ambulance parked in front of Tower 1. It's right at street level. Yeah, there's some stuff here and there, but nothing what you expect. And some people say, well, exploded outward and get shot out. Well, then the adjacent buildings should look kind of machine gun fired. They don't.
You're talking about the which building is that? You're talking about the Banker Trust building?
All of them around.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, if you get these towers and squash them down, like you're stepping on a soda pop can to collapse it, there's stuff inside that would or if you have explosions inside, they're launching stuff outward, because if it's not there when the towers are gone, where'd it go? To dust. Almost all the building turned to dust.
And that's the phrase you use, is dustification.
Yep. We need a word for that.
Okay. So what causes the event of dustification to happen?
Well, you look at lots of different pieces of evidence, but you start realizing that the pieces broke down more and more. There's a picture of a guy coming home. It's between the South Tower was the first to go poof, then the North Tower went poof. Halfway between those two, at 10:15, you can see the clock behind the guy. The guy's walking down the street, dust all over the place, perfectly clear from his knees up, but from his knees down is this haze. How could that fine of dust settle out of the air in that amount of time? And I realized, and it's consistent with other images, that coarse dust landed and then turned into fine dust.
Okay.
And then, stayed, aloft for a long period of time. So there's some kind of mechanism that's causing the material to come apart more and more and more, down to the atomic level.
What causes that to happen?
Well, let's first look at just the evidence. It's hard to jump from there to the conclusion, and you start looking at more and more things. And what I have in here is evidence, direct evidence and parallel evidence. The parallel evidence is like a tornado. Let's look at what tornadoes do. My favorite picture is this one, or video, is this tornado in Texas about 10 years ago. The roof has gone off his house. But the top floor, the computer paper is neatly stacked up, untouched big screen television. How does that happen? It wasn't wind that did that. And other parts, you've seen tornadoes that just something totally is destroyed. There's some kind of a mechanism, a field effect that causes this. You can't tell me wind did that.
Okay, so let's do this. When did you write this book? 15 years ago, right? 2010, I want to say?
Well, before that, actually, that contains the evidence that was submitted in the federal Ketam case. But I put it in a more organized fashion.
Okay, but when was this book published? Is it 2010?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's 15 years ago, right? Mm-hmm. And when did you start researching what happened to 9/11? When did you fully take a deep dive saying, I want to find out what happened to you?
The deep dive, well, I thought at first that the grown-ups were going to take care of it. I was naive. And then there's also the involvement of the 2000 election. They said they were going to fix it next time. They couldn't fix this one. And in the 2004 election, it was even worse. I went, well, the grown-ups didn't fix that. They're not going to fix this 9/11 problem. Somebody's got to do it.
So when did you start? 04?
Yeah, yep.
Okay, so let's say 2004. If I was to get obsessed, and my background, if I am a bachelor's in civil engineering, a master's in engineering mechanics, applied physics, PhD in material engineering science. This is your world, right? And that's in 1992 when you got your PhD, which is 9 years before 9/11. Mm-hmm. So it's peak of the peak of the peak, right? Things that you've done. And all of a sudden, 9/11 happens. Till 04, nothing takes place. Election, Al Gore, Bush. All right, they're not going to touch this either. Let me go investigate this. You do 6 years, you write this book. Then you put this in the world. And I'm assuming probably hundreds of thousands of copies have been sold. People have read this all over the world, right? When you write a book like this, you're going to get feedback from others who are going to question you. That's not true. This is this. People from the FBI are going to reach you. Insiders are going to reach you. Other engineers are going to reach out to you. People that were internally who lost a family or relative. I'm assuming you've gotten thousands and thousands of emails over the years, right? Of people that want to reach out to you. Then this becomes a question. From 2010 that you wrote it till today, okay? These are your claims. Where did the towers go? Poof, dustification. Have you made any progress on what you believe actually caused the 9/11 events? The World Trade Center, towers going down. Have you come to a conclusion?
Well, energy was instructed to do something differently than we've normally seen before, and
So energy was essentially directed and used as a weapon.
well, I won't get into exactly the motives behind it, but energy was manipulated differently than what we've seen before. Like nobody's really taken apart a tornado and seeing exactly what that does. Let's say somebody weaponized a tornado.
Okay.
There's just looking at the mechanism rather than the device. I don't get into the serial number of the parts that went into it or what the operator had for breakfast or details like that. But physically, what happened? There's another technology out there that people aren't familiar with, and why the subtitle of my book is what it is. Let's consider Hiroshima, August 6, 1945. Mm-hmm. The evidence of what happened that day was evidence of a technology that could be used for nuclear power plants. So let's look at the silver lining in the cloud, and let's use it for good, making nuclear power plants. That is not to say nuclear power plants destroyed Hiroshima. What happened on 9/11 is evidence of a technology that could be used for free energy. That what this thing was capable of is amazing, truly amazing. Imagine turning this 500,000-ton building to dust in midair, most of it to dust in midair, having it all come apart, all the molecular bonds and atomic bonds coming apart. That's pretty impressive. Like, okay, what if somebody goes, oops, and it does it the wrong way? There goes the planet. And actually, as it was, there was evidence that this process continued. And Bankers Trust is an example. They repaired it, but it was infected and kept going, this process. So they end up taking it apart 4 years later.
So I know you're not comfortable using the phrase directed energy weapon, but let's just use directed energy. Let's set aside the word weapon. To use directed energy, say I'm somebody that has unlimited resources. I have money. And I wanted to be able to use directed energy to make something dustify. Let's just use that as a word. How much money would I need to have to be able to use the technology to do so?
Well, go visit John Hutchison. He can show you. John Hutchison did it as, just a fun thing to do.
That's right.
And
I'm aware of that.
Yeah. Actually, when I was looking at all the evidence of all these different quirks, that were going on, I happened upon this person's Facebook, and I saw these pictures. Went, oh my gosh, that's the same type of thing that happened on 9/11. So then I got into it more and went and visited him. Mm-hmm. And how he does it is create a static field. He used to use a Tesla coil, but then or Van de Graaff generator. Now I think he uses a Tesla coil or the other way around. And then interfere radio frequency signals. And it's a square wave or a sinusoidal wave. The wave shape is important. And interfering those in a particular place, weird things happen. Now, he isn't real, meticulous. It's like, let's have fun. Let's turn this thing on. But weird things happen. You get levitation or you get disruption. In other words, the material would levitate or it would come apart. And you see on 9/11, upside-down cars. They aren't toasted. The upright ones are toasted. It's like...
What do you mean upside-down cars?
Cars parked with the wheels in the air. There's cars that are parked, they're on the roof with the wheels in the air.
You don't think that can happen by things dropping and hitting it and causing it to flip and ends up being on the back?
A block away?
It's a block. I can see that happen a block away. That there is... When you have, because there's a couple things I did. The Hutchison event, when he did this in 1979, this is the levitation of objects, metal bending or fracturing, and there's even that example of that one...
cast iron?
Right, that just kind of starts, Rob, I don't know if you have that clip or not, where the cast iron just kind of starts bending and then all of a sudden it collapses, right? If you want to pull that up.
And it was cold to the touch. In other words, the energy came out of the material. It was cold to the touch afterwards.
Afterwards it was cold to the touch? Interesting. Brandon has that clip. And Brandon, you want to... That's the one right there. Third one, Rob. Yeah, that's the one right there. So this is... If you want to maybe tell the audience what they're looking at right now, this is an example of...
The field effects, you interfere different fields. Fields of static field with a radio frequency signal. and this happens.
And this is iron.
Yeah.
And Rob, if you can, because this is going to take a while to go through it, if you want to fast forward a little bit.
And notice the fumes coming out of it.
Right there. Stop it. Yeah, right there.
You can see how fumes are puffing out of the top of it.
And then boom. Okay. Well, when you see that, one would say that's not what happened to World Trade Center. World Trade Center just flat out came down.
Well, this is a small amount.
I get that, but look what happens to it if we're talking about, directed energy.
It's crumbled a little bit afterwards, but it isn't completely. Like I said, he would experiment with trying this and that and the other, and sometimes he would get levitation. One thing that was interesting, he has a toy boat on some water, and he has his gizmo on, the water's jumping up, and you can tell when he turns the gizmo off, and then the boat appears to catch fire right after he turns the power off.
And he doesn't know why.
It's knowing why is next step. But there's people that were experimenting with lifters, and when they turn the gizmo off, they catch fire.
Okay, so
it's like something that builds up.
So the one question led to this. The first question I ask you is, if I had unlimited resources, how much would it take for me to be able to do this, right? And you said, ask Hutchinson, okay, with what he did.
No, go visit him. Because
go visit Hutchinson.
You go visit him, and then that's free.
There's a difference between doing to something this big versus doing it to a World Trade Center, causing it to come down, and doing it on the international scale while everybody's not working, home, watching it live. Mm-hmm. If you haven't tested this before and you screw it up, the world's going to be like, who was behind this, right? So if you're going to test directed energy, you would have had to test it 10, 20 times on smaller buildings to make sure you're ready, that you do it on the national scale with all the CBS, ABCs, NBC, everybody's watching it. You don't look like a clown. So to me, in order to test it at that level, don't you have to have tested it before in smaller buildings?
Mm-hmm. And there are very suspicious things that have happened in time before that. But the important thing, again, to remember is the average person doesn't know what they're looking at. And that's the impressive thing about this trick, was that the entire planet watched this happen, but they don't know what they're looking at. So they can be told something else, and they'll just buy it. They don't understand what this is.
No, I know that. But what I'm saying is, if I'm researching this, like, here's what I did. I went online and I said, okay, have we had any, and by the way, there's a follow-up question to this. I went online and said, have we had any directed energy weapons being used in the history of mankind? Rob, if you want to ask this question on ChatGPT, see what comes up. There was even one as recent as Israel that did it this year in 2025 with a drone. But if you look at the three things comes up: laser weapon systems, aboard USS Ponce, the Navy, that we had in 2014 in the Persian Gulf. And this system engaged in test targets, including UAV drones and small boats, and was authorized for self-defense use.
Well, I've only read about slingshots, BB guns, and bow and arrows, so it's got to be one of those. In other words, people only look within their repertoire. They don't observe. And if they're told that it hasn't been used before, then okay, it hasn't been used.
Yeah, but that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is I went and looked to see what's being used. So that's one of them. The other one was the Turkey's Alka system in Libya in 2019, which is 6 years ago.
Let me disclose to you that I contacted the Directed Energy Directorate with
Turkey?
No, in the U.S.
And
showing this evidence and saying, is somebody in your outfit doing this? Oh, we don't have no idea what that is, and we wouldn't be able to explain it. Of course, that's what they're going to say publicly, but they didn't say you're wacko for suggesting that.
I don't think the average person would call you wacko, though. I don't think the average person would call wacko. And the last one I pulled up is the one in Turkey was a hybrid electromagnetic laser system that they claim to have shot down a Chinese-made Wing-Lung UAV in Misrata, Libya.
Did you look at the Oklahoma City building?
I did.
Look at the roof. It's got cylindrical holes in it. How did that happen with a spherical bomb?
So how do you think it happened?
I look at the pattern of it. A cylindrical bomb.
Is that what you're talking about?
If you look at the image from the roof of
Can you do roof image, Rob? Oklahoma bombing, and just go roof image.
It's got like scalloped cylindrical holes in it. Actually, when I first saw Building 6 at the World Trade Center, I thought that was the Oklahoma City building, and I got the two confused because they look very similar. There's just 1 story difference in height. Otherwise, they look very similar.
P. Mora. So if you go, what? Is that a good view for you right there?
It's not as good as some of the ones I had on my website.
Okay, is it still on your website?
Hidden. I wouldn't be able to find it because it's, years ago it was stashed in there. But you look at it, and it's scallop-shaped cutouts in the roof.
So what are you claiming when you see that?
Well,
what do you speculate?
But I don't buy the story that a bomb parked next to it on the street, which would be a spherical, shape wave, is going to make cylindrical cutouts in the building.
Okay.
That doesn't make sense. Also, there are toasted cars a block away from Oklahoma City. Cars just appear to go into spontaneous combustion. That's after it's been smoothed out.
Okay, so you're saying that what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to say, okay, in order for this directed energy weapon allegedly to have been used on the World Trade Center, they had to have been tested before. For example, what do you think is more powerful, this or a nuclear bomb?
This.
Tell me why.
You destroyed the entire planet.
With this?
Yeah. It might not be able to stop it. And that's another thing that scares me. The first time the nuclear bomb was tested, the scientists did not know if it was self-quenching. They were willing to try it because if it kept going, there goes the planet. They did not know if it was self-quenching. In other words, they're willing to experiment on the planet. Mm-hmm. And that's why this is so scary. And what happened with Bankers Trust, that continued to disintegrate as time went on. And they finally unbuilt it. They took it down piece by piece.
Okay, but they did test a nuclear weapon, right? There was an original test that took place that the world knew about, that people in the military knew about, right?
Do you know about every top secret project?
I don't know every top secret project, but I do know if the government at the highest level was trying to use directed energy weapon to bring down the World Trade Center, they would have had to test it somewhere before to not look like idiots in the global, marketplace to see. So if that's the case, let's put it and say it happened. Great. I want to know, how did you do it to get to a point where you're comfortable with 1 million cameras on you that you're going to nail it and convince the world that no, it was a plane that brought it in?
It's not my crime. I didn't plan it.
What does that mean?
I didn't plan 9/11. I didn't. It's
I know,
not
but
my
you wrote
crime.
about it. You're the one that wrote a book called "Where Did the Towers Go?"
I'm writing what the evidence shows.
Okay, so I'm asking you a question because you've spent more time on this than me.
I'm talking about the physical phenomena, not who did what to whom, when,
No,
where.
but that would be what I would go to investigate. I would want to know if this happened. If we have, and by the way, I want to consider it as, because the way my mind works is, if a crime is done one by one by one, my job is to eliminate. If I got 7 people here that are claiming one of these 7 killed that family, one by one, I want to go through all of them. I don't want to leave any one of them to chance, okay? Because then I'm going to be like unusual suspect, Kaiser Sose, and I don't want to be the guy that he walks up.
Well, see, I don't know the serial number of the product. I don't think it even got registered.
Well, you're doing that again. I'm not asking about the serial number, Dr. Judy, respectfully. What I'm asking you is, for the government to be able to launch something like this on the global scale and fool everybody, they have had to have tested this before.
So, but you're acting like you need a blueprint of the design of something. I'm saying what on this level of what got done, it couldn't have been kinetic energy.
Okay.
It couldn't have been thermal energy.
All right.
There were 14 people that walked out of Stairway B after the building went away.
I do know that.
They weren't crushed. They weren't burned up. And there were 2 people above that even survived just riding the wave down. And one guy went home at night. His wife was shot.
So what do you think? Why do you think that is?
Her husband died there. That there was something that did not crush people.
Okay.
It didn't cook them to death. So that eliminates about every weapon that's known.
Isn't there a possibility that some areas of it, like, when I was in Iran and we would have things that would happen, or the bombing, they would say, go hide under the stairs. It's the safest place you could be, right? Sometimes you could get lucky. Sometimes you could get very lucky and you could make it. Things do happen. Plane crashes happen. 99 people die and 1 person makes it. And you spend the rest of your life telling that story. Titanic, there was a lot of survivors. How many people died? A lot of people died. But there was a few survivors that they made movies about it, right? That we read about.
Pascal Bazzelli survived when the building around him didn't. The building around him was gone. They call him the surfer. He came down without the building around him. If it's not a kinetic energy weapon and not a thermal energy weapon, it was something that isn't in the whatever you call it, multiple choice menu.
Nowadays, more than ever, the brand you wear reflects and represents who you are. So for us, if you wear a Future Looks Bright hat or a Valuetainment gear, you're telling the world, I'm optimistic. I'm excited about what's going to be happening, but you're a free thinker. You question things. You like debate. And by the way, last year, 120,000 people got a piece of Future Looks Bright gear with Valuetainment. We have so many new things. The cufflinks are here. New Future Looks Bright. This is my favorite, the green one. Just yesterday, somebody placed an order for 100 of these. If you watch the PBD podcast, you got a bunch to choose from. White ones, black ones. If you smoke cigars and you come to our cigar lounge, we have this high quality lighter cutter and a holder for the cigars. We got sweaters with the Valuetainment logo on it. We got mugs. We got a bunch of different things. But if you believe the future looks bright, if you follow our content and what we represent with Valuetainment, with PBD Podcast, go to vtmerch.com. And by the way, if you order right now, there's going to be a special VT gift inside just for you. So again, go to vtmerch.com, place your order, tell the world that you believe the future looks bright. You use the phrase dustification, right? That things just disappeared. They turn into dust.
Well, it didn't disappear. They came apart into dust.
But what does that mean, though? If they turn into dust,
the material came apart.
And is the physical material still around, or most of it is no longer around?
It's not around there. Kind of gone with the wind. It blew down the eastern sea.
Okay, so if that's the case, how long did it take to clean up all the mess that was left from the 9/11, from the World Trade Center coming down?
I mean the dust.
Well, if it's dust, it would take a week or two to clean up.
Oh no, it's down the eastern seaboard. It's down into Delaware. It was getting deposited.
The dust.
Yes.
I know, but were there physical items that they had to clean up?
There weren't big items.
So then why did it take 40,000 people, construction workers, firefighters, police engineers, and 1.8 million tons of debris and rubble and steel to remove?
There were, from what I saw, and I actually went there and saw it, the mechanism or whatever, the effect, it got initiated and it wasn't self-quenching. It kept going and going and going. What they were doing is bringing in fresh dirt, putting it down the ground, stirring it around, taking it back out, bringing in more dirt.
Well, so you're thinking they brought the dirt and the dirt wasn't there?
I've got pictures of the dirt trucks bringing dirt in.
Yeah, that can be manipulated because that could be them taking the dirt out and it looks like they're bringing it in. That could be a way for someone. Again, I am going to play to be super speculative of this, because I think that's fair to the audience for me to ask some of these questions to get to the bottom of it. Because if it did happen, man, we got some work to do to go find out what happened with this thing here, right? Because it's a powerful
it's really
weapon.
weird. I was there physically in person, visiting it several years later, and they have those gates where they let the trucks in and out. And they don't want anybody around there to be able to, take pictures inside. And I see that something's going to happen. I can get the camera ready. The gate opens up. The guy drives up Liberty Street, just past the 10 and 10 firehouse, and stops. He slides out the passenger side. Another driver hops in the driver's side and continues on. In other words, the guy who takes stuff in and out of the site was not the one that drove it off someplace. Thought that was pretty interesting.
Okay.
But there's a whole lot of just information like that. But what becomes important is physically what's going on and be able to see. You don't need to have the answer to see that something weird is going on with the material. The material is constantly breaking down.
I think something weird happened. I just don't know what the weird thing is. I do think something weird happened on 9/11. I don't trust that just a building flew in and then boom, it goes down. Because case study doesn't give the individuals who believe in that credibility. It doesn't.
Yeah. Airplanes, the people like to argue about airplanes. I think that was the emotional attachment they gave people to give a reason for what happened to the buildings.
To gay people?
No, to get people to get them to attach to it, to their emotions.
I thought you were going to drop a new, just like a gay
Oh, no,
airline or
no,
something.
no.
I don't want to start rumors now.
No.
So you're saying to get people,
Get
not
people,
gay people.
right, to get
My
people.
apologies, yeah.
To get people
Yeah.
to, I can see how it sounds like that.
For my
I'll slow
English,
down. I'll slow down. To get people an answer or something they can attach to. Oh,
Right.
that's what, they need a reason why the buildings went poof. Oh, I saw that airplane, so therefore that did it. And some people argue for airplanes, some people argue against airplanes. And what I like to say is airplanes can't turn buildings to dust in midair.
Yeah, I don't believe that.
Real airplanes
Yeah.
can't, and neither can fake airplanes. So there's no point in talking about the airplane issue because that's just a distraction away from what is actually happening.
You know how in the craziest way how I process this? Why did they take the Richard Gage interview down? Why? I don't know. And by the way, I pushed them. Why did they take it down? I don't know. Why if this stays up, maybe they're comfortable with this theory. And
It's not a
his.
theory. I just talk about evidence. That's why I can't give you the serial numbers of it.
Yeah. Okay. So, did you ever investigate to see if there was any of these directed energy experiments taking place at mass levels?
I didn't need to because something happened over there. That doesn't conclude what happened here. I'm looking at what happened here.
Yeah, but if you want to buy this house, the real estate agent's going to look at the surrounding houses to get a comp to see how much this house is worth. It's called comps. So if I got a case like this, they'll say, this reminds me of the Roe v. Wade. This reminds me of such and such case. This reminds me of such and such case. Why do they do that?
This is a
'Cause it's
physical
comparison.
phenomenon. This is a physical phenomenon. You can't
So
argue
this has
about
never happened before.
Maybe it has, and there's like I say, there's other places I could question, but there's so much information about this one. I know what happened with this one. And there's characteristics that you start, seeing that you would recognize again. Like if you understand what happened at the World Trade Center, and then you look at the Pentagon, you go, "Oh, I've seen that before." I didn't need to investigate the Pentagon so much, but there's not as much evidence. Information available because it's secure location. But with the World Trade Center, because they had this public document, this NIST report and so forth, it had to be public, the information.
So I just went online and I typed. What is that, Rob?
That's the Pentagon on 9/11.
Oh, okay. Got it.
It has the questions of its own, but I didn't need to get into other stuff.
Let's stay on 9/11. So when I look at, so I typed in how many movies have used directed energy weapons before in the past? Just movies. Because sometimes the way I see movies is, movies are,
Predictive programming?
30 years before, right? Typically before something happens, they'll drop it in movies and they'll get us ready to say, this is coming soon, relax, it's going to be okay. Oh shit, 30 years later, we're going to make robots, you're going to own them $10,000 to $30,000, you're going to be fine. All right, I got 72 robots as employees now. Hey, Johnny. Hi, Rob. How are you? What's your day looking like? And then we're just, they told us in movies, iRobots, this is coming, so it's finally here. So
there's actually one that somebody sent me a link to where, I don't know what it was called, not Pink Panther, but something like that, where they used gizmos that dustified a building.
Oh, trust me, I've seen them in movies. So there you go. So you have one with Star Wars, iconic blaster, Death Star super laser. Okay, kind of cool. Star Trek has phasers as DEWs. Okay. The Day Earth Stood Still, Klaatu's robot Gort uses a disintegration beam. War of the Worlds, there's a new one as well that they did 20 years ago, but Martian heat rays devastate cities. Fantastic Voyage 66 laser scalpel used inside a human body. Flash Gordon and Tron use beams as weapons. Ghostbusters, proton packs as quasi-DEW. Then you got Independence Day, alien ships fire massive city-destroying beams. Starship Troopers, plasma weapons and interstellar combat. Fifth Element, energy rifles, and alien tech. I mean, you can see in movies these things have been used. And if they've been used in movies, I believe this exists. I don't think this is like something that's out of the ordinary. So I'm not speculating that they exist.
Would you believe it's top secret?
Could be. I do.
The response I got back from the directed energy director, it kind of was hinting that way, like we're not going to talk about it. It's just like, I don't know, we don't do that.
I don't know about that. I don't know about that because if
They
they
can't disclose it.
I know they can't disclose it, but to me, if there's 8.5 months it took to clean up 1.8 million tons of rubble and steel, and they needed 40,000 workers to clean it up, where is the justification?
So you're assuming it's a normal site. You're assuming it's a normal site with normal debris.
What's an abnormal site?
If people spent that long cleaning it up,
Yeah.
what are they cleaning up? I've got photos from the afternoon.
1.8 million tons of rubble and steel and
No, they calculate what went into building the buildings. That's the ingredients of what went into the buildings. So they say, well, we hauled out that much debris.
Mm-hmm.
There's no, I want to see a receipt for it. There isn't any. I saw pictures on 9/11 on West Street there, dust that tall. There's no junk. You could essentially drive your vehicle
So
down.
you don't believe there was 8.5 months of 40,000 people volunteering to clean up all the...
Oh, they were doing stuff. Yeah, they were like the bucket brigade and whatnot. But it wasn't that much material being taken out. There's a lot of dirt going out.
You think it was just dirt?
No,
Can you
there's
find a
there's
clip
actually
of
some
what they were
ballpoint pens in
cleaning
it.
up? I'm actually now you got me curious. Clips of workers cleaning up World Trade Center. Do you have any clips of it, of them doing
There
that?
was bucket brigades taking stuff out carefully in case there was a body in there. Let's see if I can find...
If you type in like 9/11 cleanup, is there 9/11 click? Here's one I just found, Rob. Is that, okay, so that's 9/11 cleanup. What is that? That's not dust, if you want to look at that, Dr. Judy.
Yeah, that's not 110 stories worth of material.
So what do you think it is?
Think of a game of pickup sticks, where you have a pile there, and if they're really standing up, and you try to make them look like they're more, but...
So you think they're manipulating
Okay,
dust?
this picture is right after 9/11.
Let me see it.
That one over there, and that's ground level. That's the plaza in that globe that was in the middle of the plaza.
Okay.
There's some holes in the ground, but that's the patio level of the plaza.
Okay, so what was the temperature when all this stuff was coming down?
Actually, folks who were running through it said the dust was actually cooler than ambient temperature. It burned like acid burns, but it was cooler than ambient temperature, which I thought was kind of weird.
Okay,
A
so
lot of strange, and this is a good one. Where did Building 4 go? That's one of my favorite ones. It went AWOL. It's gone, and the level right underneath it where the mall was is still intact. Roadrunner survived. There was a Warner Brothers store there with Roadrunner in it. It didn't get crushed.
I want to know who built that structure, right? That's who I want to hire. That's,
Right.
so what's this, Rob? What do you have here? That's Roadrunner?
Well, that's the remaining wing of the north part of Building 4. Here's Building 4 here, and where my figure shows, that's what you're seeing. Is just that block above
That
there.
guy.
Yep, that's just this part, but this whole part went missing.
Okay.
The large part, and that's what you see here where I dashed it in.
What things could make those things go missing?
A tornado.
A tornado.
Yeah. Another thing I like to point out is static electricity was discovered in the year 600 BC.
Okay.
So we're told in our books. But do you believe it took them 2,400 more years to discover electricity? How many times was it discovered and undiscovered and whatnot? And still, we don't really learn about what tornadoes are as a general public. But obviously, it isn't just like a vacuum cleaner. There's a different kind of process, electromagnetic process going on.
Okay, well, let me ask you. Before we came up, you said something about flat Earth. What is your thought on flat Earth?
I think the northern rural albatross had it figured out before humans were even around.
Which is what? What did he figure out?
That you fly east, you keep flying east, and you get back home. You leave home flying east. And when they have their nests, the southern part of New Zealand and also off the coast of the Chatham Islands, in that little island, and when the babies fledge, they fly east, and they hang out off the coast of Chile for about 5 years till they grow up, and then they fly east again and keep going until they get back home. They know exactly where their nest was that they came from.
So what does that mean?
They don't turn around and go back.
So it's not flat.
Right.
Okay, that's good. So you don't believe that it's flat.
Right. They could do laps around there.
Okay, that's great. Yeah, we like that. We like the fact that we do laps.
There was one last year, baby that didn't stop very long in South America. After a month, he kept going. And he made it as far as Tasmania, almost to New Zealand, when his thing fell off. They have a GPS gizmo that's with a solar panel on it.
Yeah.
And they glue it to the feathers, but when they molt, it comes off. They have a longer term one that they put around their ankles, but this one was cool, like, go boy, go. You know,
You literally track where he's at.
Yeah, he almost made a complete lap around the planet.
Wow.
They can go across the Pacific in about 1 or 2 weeks.
What a great time.
They're frequent flyer
Imagine, like,
miles.
being a bird and just kind of traveling and relaxing. And
They don't flap their
wind hitting
wings.
your
You know, they
face.
sleep.
Yeah.
When they leave their nest, they don't touch solid ground for another 5 years. They may land on the water, but they don't land on solid ground.
So they sleep while flying.
Yeah, and like they don't flap. They soar.
Wow. Most people can't fly and have a hard time sleeping. These guys sleep while they're flying.
Mm-hmm.
That's some major respect for them to be able to do something like that. So what are we going to do with this? Okay? What if you wanted to say motivation, I'm actually curious where you're going to go with this. What would be someone's motive to do what they did to 9/11? Who would be the people that would want to bring down the World Trade Center?
Well, I'm not one of them, but I can look at what's happened since then.
Okay.
You know, see the effects. One thing that really bugged me after 9/11 was we had all these flying spy gizmos being put out and spy cameras everywhere. People wouldn't have put up with that without 9/11. But the biggest thing that I would like the viewer to understand is that 9/11 was an attack on human consciousness. Since 9/11, people have not been thinking so clearly or so deeply. They just kind of go along, nodding along, and they hear something, oh, okay. And we need to get back to that. It's like a degradation of our culture. And that's sort of what one of the big aims of my book is, going through this evidence and teaching people to observe what they're seeing, not what they're being told to see.
Wow.
But it's a big deal. I've got this cute story, you probably heard about Jack Willems. The very first jet airplane, P-59, was flown by Jack Willems. When they had it on the ground...
Jack Willems?
Willems, W-O-O-L-A-M-S. When they had it on the ground to hide this top secret technology, they put a fake propeller on it. And the propeller kind of looked like some boards off of some planks off of a wooden fence. And then they take it off and they fly it away. And when my dad read my book, he got to that. He was in World War II. He went, "Oh yeah, I thought those were weird, but I didn't think any more of it." People don't know what they're looking at. And then apparently Jack Willems was at the local pub drinking a bunch and said to the P-39 pilots, "I have an airplane that doesn't have propellers on it." And then he went, "Oops, how do you back that up?" Well, next day he rented a gorilla suit, derby hat, cigar out of his mouth, and flew up next to the P-39 pilots. Then that night at the watering hole, "You see that escaped gorilla from the zoo?" "I see nothing, I know nothing." Who would want to admit it?
Yeah.
But people don't see what's really there. They see what they think they're supposed to see.
Yeah. By the way, when you got your degree and you finished up your PhD, what did you do for work from 92 till 01? What did you do professionally?
I was there's more of a story behind that. I was a postdoc student for some of that. I got injured, as in killed, and then come back from that. A whole lot of stuff, I've had a full life.
Good for you.
And that's another reason why I felt like I needed to go into 9/11.
But what did you do full time? What was your full time job? Were you a professor or did you work for a company as a mechanical engineer?
I mainly, when I came back from that, I was doing a postdoc. And then I became a professor.
Okay. Did you ever work on a job like as a mechanical engineer? Like, did you work?
I wasn't a mechanical engineer. Engineering mechanics is a little bit different. You test materials.
If I get a degree in civil engineering, engineering mechanics, applied physics, and material engineering science, what job do I go pursue? What do I do for a living?
If it's not with academia, testing materials.
Did you ever do that?
Running experiments. Yeah.
Who was it with?
I was at Boeing.
You were at Boeing.
Yeah, for intermission. Also worked for a short time at NASA Langley.
How long were you at NASA? How long?
Not long. It was a part of their program. Doing your degree, and then you go work at NASA.
How long did you work at Boeing?
Not long.
10 years, 5 years, 3 years?
No.
6 months, 3 months?
Like a year.
At each places?
Yeah.
So you've mainly been academia your entire life?
Yeah, or a hospital patient.
Got it. So that's interesting.
Well, I also was a draftsman for a while.
What do draftsmen do?
This is before the computer.
Oh, got it. Would you draw?
Yeah.
I got
it. Ink and,
I got it.
mylar.
Okay. Well, listen, any final things you want to say before we wrap up the podcast? Any final thoughts that audience should look into? We're going to put the link below for people to be able to go out there and order Where Did the Towers Go? I know Brandon for sure is going to buy it. I know a bunch of guys will buy it. But what else would you want to leave the audience to think about?
Think about how careful we need to be to not be led around. What do magicians do? They get you to lie to yourself. They get you to believe something that isn't true. They get you to make an assumption, a jump of something that isn't true. And so if you're constantly being, it's either this, or this. No, but this doesn't agree to it. Oh, don't look at that. Instead, you need to look at what is in front of you. Think of that exercise that artist did, putting his hands underneath a wooden shelf.
That's very interesting, yeah.
Yeah, and you're forced to look at one piece relative to another and see what is really there.
Yeah.
And because it's a hard thing to do. You have to train yourself to do it.
I could never do it. I could never do it. But, to me, I simply want to know what happened. It's a big day. It's one of the worst days in the history of American history, especially the last 50 years. Yeah, if we go to 60s, that changes. But last 50 years, many would put it at the top, worst day that we experienced, and we still don't know what happened.
Well, you know what my PhD was, or the dissertation? Developed a method for measuring deformation of materials.
I saw that.
And stresses. And when I came back with that evidence, it contradicted all theoretical results up to that point. Theory didn't correctly predict what was there. And it became what, like a colleague of mine started using it. It went to work for Motorola, measuring the stresses in microchips. Because you're going to get any two dissimilar materials bond together, you're going to get huge stresses on the interface.
Have you been to the New World Trade Center? The new ones that built?
I've been to the New World Trade Center. I've been to the, museum several times.
You have been to the museum?
Yeah, that's pretty weird. You know that video of the spire justifying?
Yes.
They have that. You see it right when you come in the door. They probably won't now that I'm pointing it out, but it's a smaller part of the bigger picture. They have it more from back, but they have the justifying spire
right
there.
In front of it.
Right in front.
When you go there, do they know who you are?
No, nobody knows who I am.
No. So they don't give you a hard time when you go in there?
No. And this Bible is there.
This Bible on the rock?
Yeah.
The Bible didn't burn.
Right, and it has formerly liquid metal fused to the page.
And this is in the museum?
Yes. Just before you go, they run you through this loop-de-loop around, and just before you leave, I thought I missed it, and I was turning around to go back, and there it is. It's like in the middle of the aisle.
Do they find out whose Bible it was or no? Because I'm sure the family would love this.
They probably don't know. But there's some very interesting things if you know what you're looking at there. Like a fire truck where only the electrical stuff is toasted in it, nothing else.
You are fully convinced that's what happened?
That there's the
This
things.
guy?
Oh, not that one, but some other ones.
Rob, please get it right when you're showing pictures like this.
But that's all
Like
right.
in a serious meeting.
He probably doesn't have that one.
No, he needs to take it seriously. I mean, let me.
This one they have beyond in the paywall at the museum. There's stuff outside the paywall, and you have to pay more to go inside the control thing. But these are weird as they are. Yeah, check out that ambulance.
Huh.
It's just got holes in it.
Yeah,
Random holes.
that's wild, and they still have it up there.
Yeah, you'll see
You're
that one.
convinced. So, what do you think about Richard Gage and his organization? What they did?
They're either not real bright or they're deliberately misdirecting. Now, Richard Gage bought a copy of my book. So it was April 9th, 2011.
Saw the order that he made.
Well, he bought it off of somebody with a check that's to a bank from 8911 Truth. So 8911 Truth paid for the book.
Why do you think that's a big deal?
But he has it. He has the information.
Oh, I'm sure. Would you ever sit down with him in a debate format?
Sure, but he has no interest in the truth because the way, like even this thing they had this past week,
Yeah.
it looked like a junior high girl was throwing spitwads at somebody. They had a professional engineer, supposedly. His whole presentation, this is supposed to be for Congress or something, was about debunking my book. Nothing of material. He didn't talk about the lack of S&P waves, lack of debris.
So you would sit down with him if we did something?
Sure, but I don't think his interest is in that.
All right, let us see what we can do with him. We'll see. Maybe we can do something with him.
There's
Have a
also
conversation.
maybe he's been a victim of that idea that you only see what you think exists.
You think so?
Yeah, so it's got to be either slingshot, BB gun, or
I
bow
think so.
and arrow.
Richard Gage, his own community, he started, ousted him, fired him. I think didn't something happen to him, Rob?
Yes, he was. I believe he was removed from the architects and engineers for 9/11.
He started that, right? And how many people were part of that organization?
He
Like 30,000,
He
3,000?
started it in response to my request for corrections to NIST.
Yeah.
That came out, and a couple of weeks later is when the first 8911 Truth website went up. And no one who ever talked to Judy Wood was allowed to be in 8911 Truth. And if you talked about the Keatam case, you were banned from the group.
Have you, because you heard President Trump announcing that he would release everything they have for 9/11. What happened to World Trade Center? Were you following that story or no?
Yeah, I think he was saying that and didn't really know he might get votes, but I don't think he knew what was there. And there's plenty of other stuff going on.
Who doesn't want this thing to be released? Who doesn't want it to be released?
Probably all of them. Ron Johnson was speaking at that thing earlier this week on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And he made a good comment that Trump has a lot on his plate right now. And they've already hired one investigation for this. Why should they hire another one? Because the first one didn't give you the answer you wanted. But something else that Ron Johnson said is, I'm not sure there's some things that could ever be released. And I think that's the case. But think of this in the wrong hands.
What the director energy weapon would do?
What
in the wrong
this
hands?
technology? I
Yeah.
wouldn't call it. I'm not specifying it as a weapon. But
What would you call it?
This phenomenon, this technology.
You're big with words. I learned that.
Yeah. Now I don't know if you saw the part about Ed Leedskalnin. He's a Latvian guy who came to the U.S. around in Florida, southern Florida. You need to go down there. I'd love to go there with you to I think it's in Homestead. He built this castle, the size of, he excavated big rocks out of brain coral and built a castle out of it. And then I forgot what happened, and he had to move it. And his friend put a flatbed truck there, and by morning he had it loaded. If somebody was ever watching, he'd stop working on it. It's like leaving your gun cabinet unlocked. You don't leave your gun cabinet unlocked unless everybody knows what the gun.
So you think he had DEW and he moved it with that?
He didn't know how to weapon. He knew how to. He levitated the stones by himself.
Let's drop the W.
Yeah.
He had access to DE.
Yeah, he could manipulate the energy to levitate stuff, and I think that's how the pyramids were built. He had this little rinky-dink tripod that couldn't hold more than 100 100 pounds and lifted 15-ton stones.
Well, I mean, that part where you're going, and they show how they build the pyramids back in the days in Egypt. And when you hear the phenomenon, it makes no sense that
Right.
what did they use for them to be able to, move it? What type of power did you have to so there is something there when those topics come up.
Yeah, look at Ed Leedskaln's little castle. It's, like 2 or 3
Rob,
stories
can
tall.
you find that castle of his?
A coral castle.
Is that it? The Coral Castle?
It's about a couple of stories tall, and he made a little power plant in it.
Which guy is it? Is it that guy?
Yeah, that's it. That building on the right. Those are 15-ton stones that he...
Each one of them.
Yeah, he excavated brain coral.
So you're wondering how he put it up there.
Oh, I'm not wondering.
You know how he did it?
Yeah, he has written a little book on it.
Have you met him?
No, he died in 1950-something.
Oh, okay.
He was sick and rode his bicycle to the hospital and died there.
He's sick. He gets on his bicycle, goes to the hospital, and dies there.
Yeah. I think
Very
it was TB
resourceful.
or something like that.
Yeah.
That he had. But, there's apparently like neighborhood kids watching, and he'd stop working. And I think it's because you need to earn,
To know that kind of stuff.
yeah, you need to earn that privilege. It's like understanding how to destroy the planet. You don't just turn that loose.
Understanding how to destroy the planet.
It could be
Let me
used
ask you,
that
what's your
way.
favorite movie?
Space Camp? I don't know. I'm just thinking of some fun
Space
ones.
Camp.
Yeah.
You like Space
A
Camp?
League of Their Own, that was fun.
I like League of Their Own. There's no crying in baseball, right? Is that the
Right,
one?
right.
Yeah. Was that League of Their Own or no?
Yes.
Is that the one? Am I saying it
Yeah,
correctly?
yeah, that was League of Their Own.
Yeah, they were crying.
There's
She's like, no,
Tom Hanks.
Madonna's in. No, is Madonna in
Yeah,
it?
Madonna's in there.
It's actually a very good movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's no
Those are done.
crying in baseball. I remember that line. It's a good movie. Favorite book of all time? Trying to figure you out, Dr. Judy Wood. Trying to figure you out. What are you going to say? Favorite book?
Aren't too many books. First one I ever read was On the Beach by Neville Shute.
And that's your book?
That was the first one I ever read, and it made a big impression on me.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
People's mentality, near the end of the book, where they know that they're going to get wiped out with a nuclear wave, the lady has to go out and plant her spring flowers. And you see that. That's a human nature, is pretend it doesn't exist and continue on.
Yeah.
We have people doing that now.
I for sure believe that we have people doing that. I was hoping I could figure out what happened on 9/11. And
Well,
I still
you know
don't
there was
have
a
the
hurricane.
answers. Yeah.
Hurricanes have a static field outside of them.
What was it called? Hurricane Brandon?
Hurricane Aaron.
Aaron.
Yeah, it was under-reported. It wasn't non-reported. It was under-reported.
Right. Hurricane Aaron. That's right.
And you know how TV stations love to really make it for all it's worth. Oh, and there was a airline attendant flying out of Boston that morning. He saw the people who supposedly disappeared. Into Tower 1 or 2, I forget which. He saw them that morning in the office, and then anyway he flew out the other direction, but they never talked. He was totally unaware there was a Category 3 hurricane right there.
All of that, I can get there. The directed energy, let's not use the W words, I don't want to upset you. The directed energy side.
The mechanism, just call it the mechanism of what happened.
Yeah.
Don't give it a name.
I just don't want to upset you, but it's been great spending time with you. It's been great
This
spending.
is evidence.
Yeah, no, that's great. And like I said, I'm going to put the book below, Rob. If you can put the clip, the link to the book, where did the towers go, and we'll put the clip to you, the link to your website as well. And if the audience wants to get a hold of you, they will. Well, thank you for coming out. This was great. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate you. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. Nowadays, more than ever, the brand you wear reflects and represents who you are. So for us, if you wear a Future Looks Bright hat or a Valuetainment gear, you're telling the world, I'm optimistic. I'm excited about what's going to be happening, but you're a free thinker. You question things. You like debate. And by the way, last year, 120,000 people got a piece of Future Looks Bright gear with Valuetainment. We have so many new things. The cufflinks are here. New future looks bright. This is my favorite, the green one. Just yesterday, somebody placed an order for 100 of these. If you watch the PBD podcast, you got a bunch to choose from. White ones, black ones. If you smoke cigars and you come to our cigar lounge, we have this high quality lighter cutter and a holder for the cigars. We got sweaters with the Valuetainment logo on it. We got mugs. We got a bunch of different things. But if you believe the future looks bright, if you follow our content and what we represent with Valuetainment, with PBD Podcast, go to vtmerch.com. And by the way, if you order right now, there's going to be a special VT gift inside just for you. So again, go to vtmerch.com, place your order, tell the world that you believe the future looks bright.
Osama bin Laden's dead.
So that one you know for a fact because you looked at his face.
Yeah, I looked at him and then killed him. I looked at his dead face. And then when the picture that was taken that wasn't released, those are my gloves holding his head together.
Was there an initial shock? Like, oh shit, we actually found him? Was it like boom, 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 boom?
No, he went this way. I turn here. Here's bin Laden standing. I see him. I blast him. Shoot him again because with a suicide bomber, especially as a sniper, you aim for the mouth, aim for the forehead. You got to cut him down. And that's just what I did with him and then moved the wife out of the way. And I looked down and his 2-year-old son, Hussein, was there. And I'm a father. My first thought was this poor kid has nothing to do with this.
Who is the current Osama bin Laden?
Well, I think the current Osama bin Laden is actually Hamza bin Laden.
But you hear about the fact that he was killed in 2019,
yes.
Right?
We said we killed him. I don't think he's dead. I think he's running camps in Afghanistan now. It's just sort of one of the things we don't really want to talk about because of the withdrawal and how bad it was in 2021.
Then why would the president announce that he was taken out in 2019?
Well, that I don't understand either.
Do we know where he's at?
I don't.
Do you think Mossad knows where he's at? Because Mossad seems to know where everybody's
Mossad
at.
surprises me because I think they know everything. They've proven it with the thing with the pagers. It's in their interest to know it, and then you got to figure, is it in their interest to tell us where they are? First, you have to admit he's still alive.
You're saying he's not dead. You still think he's alive?
As far as I know, he's alive. It just kind of sucks that 25 years later, we're right back where we started.
Did you ever think you would make it? I feel I'm supposed to taste sweet victory. I know this life meant for me.
Adam, what's your point? The future looks bright.
Bet David.
My handshake is better than anything I ever saw. It's right here.
You are a one-of-one?
My son's right about
I don't think I've ever said this before.
Wrong Missy.
The Wrong Missy.
No.
That's a good one. David Spade's in that. It's
Wrong Missy.
The Wrong Missy. Yeah.
Comedy?
Yes. Ridiculous comedy. And he met a really annoying Missy, and then he met a really hot Missy, and then they were texting, but he was the wrong one. He took her on a retreat to Hawaii for his company, but it was the wrong one.
Have you seen this, Rob?
I have.
Is it good?
Yeah, it's pretty funny. She's really good, the actress.
Oh,
in this.
she's incredible.
Can you text it to me?
Yeah.
Yeah, because last night the Greek kids are like, can we watch, what is the hangover version for the girls? Jennifer said
Bridesmaids.
Bridesmaids.
Oh, that's excellent.
We open up the movie in the first 10 seconds. I'm like, babe, what kind of a movie are you recommending?
Well, yeah,
it's the opening. Do you know the opening scene?
Yeah, it starts out pretty dirty.
Babe, you
Yeah,
got kids
yeah.
sitting here watching. Like, babe, I forgot it starts like this. Anyways, good shout out to the wife for recommending Bridesmaids.
Yeah.
Anyways, it's great to have you here, man.
I appreciate having me.
Thank you for your service.
An honor.
And at the highest level. And, for the folks who know you, they know who you are. For those who don't, you are famous for taking out Osama bin Laden with your team, SEAL Team 6. So let's start off with a basic question. Who is the current Osama bin Laden? Today's.
I think the current Osama bin Laden is actually Hamza bin Laden. We said we killed him in, obviously before the bin Laden raid.
Yep.
I don't think he's dead. I think he's running camps in Afghanistan now. I think there's 27 camps that he's running in cahoots with pretty much everybody. Even over there, when they say, well, it's ISIS, it's pretty much the same dudes. They're just saying they're ISIS now, waving the new flag. But because of the withdrawal and how bad it was in 2021, they've got a lot of camps there. And I think Hamza's alive. I think he's running it. I think he's in cahoots with the Haqqani network. And it's just sort of one of the things we don't really want to talk about because, Afghanistan is one of those things that I think we had it won after Operation Anaconda, pretty much after Tora Bora, where they all ran to Pakistan, and we were really good at keeping people there and watching the borders. So eventually we'd run sources in and out, try to find out where bin Laden is, because they're all in Pakistan. And the whole thing with you're either with us or you're with the terrorists was wrong, because Afghanistan was fine. When I was there in 2005, living in Jalalabad, Afghanistan, in a safe house, which would be unheard of now, we had a small airfield that the Russians built, and there was even some Hind helicopters still that had been shot down with American-made Stingers. You could drive a motorbike out in town and eat the local food. You could buy rugs from local vendors, and it was okay, but there was no such thing as IEDs, no suicide bombers, until we decided to surge, the first surge, which was under George Bush. And we were even saying to them, why would you surge now? And that's just the broad brush stroke of how to win anything. And we were even, as operators on the ground, explaining to them, this is going to be bad because right now we can go out in town and we get along with the locals, and with our safe house, we're hiring local plumbers, electricians, local security. There's safety and security here. But if you move us out of here and build a big base, bring in thousands of troops, the only ones going outside are scared 20-year-olds driving MRAPs, running over people. You only let in 5 vendors instead of the rest of them. They're going to get rich by raising their prices by 800%. They're not. What do you think's going to happen? And they didn't buy it. And their answer was, well, no, there's no suicide bombers here. There's no IEDs. And what happened. So I don't think a lot of senior leaders, they're more political than want to know what's actually going on. So I think right now, because of what we did and how we're probably still funding the Taliban, and we're funding their camp. So I think it's Hamza. Short answer is Hamza bin Laden.
Hamza bin Laden. So, and do we know where he's at?
I don't. And I think it's been tough because we don't have very good human intelligence there. We have signal sort of everywhere, but it's hard to get there.
Do you think Mossad knows where he's at? Because Mossad seems to know where everybody's at.
Mossad surprises me because I think they know everything. They've proven it with putting IEDs in places in Iran where they're meeting, the thing with the pagers. So yes, I think they do. It's in their interest to know it, and then you got to figure what their interest is. Is it in their interest to tell us where they are? And then we have our agencies that probably I don't know. We might, and if we do, first you have to admit he's still alive, and that did we put out counterintelligence, bad intelligence, or is he dead? As far as I know, he's alive. And there are people that I still talk to that are sources, but we're all getting old, so no boots on the ground right now.
But you hear about the fact that he was killed in 2019,
yes.
Right? So on September 14, 2019, President Trump announced that he was killed in U.S. counterterrorism operation on Afghanistan-Pakistan border. You're saying he's not dead. You still think he's alive.
Right. And so I might have misspoken. One of the brothers was killed before the raid. We killed one of the brothers on the raid. And then, 2019, they said Hamza was dead. I was out then, but my sources have said he's still alive. But it's one of the things they don't want to admit. And it's different than right and wrong. It's political at this point because there would be people that say, well, Trump said it, so it's got to be wrong. Or people that say Trump said it, so it's got to be right. I personally, it makes sense that he's alive. It makes sense to have camps. And it just kind of sucks that 25 years later, we're right back where we started.
What is that, right? It's September 2024, National Mobilization Front. A resistant group fighting against the Afghan Taliban claimed that bin Laden was still alive. Bin Laden or Hamza? Hamza bin Laden is still alive.
Osama bin Laden's dead.
Okay, so that one you know for a fact because you looked at his face.
Yeah, I looked at him and then killed him. I looked at his dead face. And then when the picture that was taken that wasn't released, those are my gloves holding his head together. So he's gone. But there's Sarah Adams, I think is her name, is a follow. She knows a lot about it. She's at a former agency.
She's phenomenal. She does
I don't know
great.
if you've had her on here.
I haven't had her on.
If you want, she's the one that I can pretend I know what I'm talking about because I've listened to her, but she's the one that would know. And I think she thinks Hamza is alive still.
So she also thinks Hamza is alive.
Mm-hmm.
And she said that publicly?
Yes.
Okay.
She screams it from the rooftops publicly.
So if we know where he's alive, then why would the president announce that he was taken out in 2019?
Well, that I don't understand either. It's almost like with the body double thing, or Seymour Hersh said that we were mutilating bin Laden's body and we threw him over the Hindu Kush and that he was never, and President Trump retweeted that. And he said he just retweeted it to say it's out there, yet sitting in that office, a retweet's a lot more, has a lot more leverage than not. So for that too, I don't know why, but I think he's alive.
Yeah. So you're talking about, you isolate each one of them. Are you talking about a tweet many years ago when President said that Osama bin Laden was never killed? So that's what you're talking about.
There was something about a Seymour Hersh article that said he was dead, but he was mutilated. I'd have to look up the.
He retweeted. The president retweeted
something. Yeah, and I'd have to look that up.
Can you pull that up, Rob?
I'm looking right now.
He retweeted something that at the time they said, President Trump retweeted a QAnon claim that
something like that.
Osama bin Laden, I think is 2000 and what year would this be?
That
Rob?
would have been
12. No, not 12. What year would it be? I want to say October of 12. Maybe I'm wrong. So if you can kind of pull up when.
No, I think he was president when he tweeted something out because I was at a pool in Phoenix And because and it was something along the lines of this, with the SEAL Team 6 operators being killed on Extortion 1-7, which happened, but it wasn't the Bin Laden team, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. So
and I'm kind of mixing this up a little bit too. I'm thinking back to it.
So let's isolate it.
Sure.
Let's kind of focus on each one of them. So on one end, you're saying Hamza, the son, is still alive.
Yes.
And President Trump said he died in 2019. He says, no, he's still alive. He died. You're saying he's still alive. Okay.
Yes.
Osama bin Laden, that whole conversation with that one was a different story because, himself, President Trump, and some others are like, why would he be dead? I had DJ Shipley and Cole Fackler, which Cole Fackler, I think he said he was there with you on the mission, or one of the 90 guys that was working on the mission.
Yes, he would have been one of the guys that don't get credit for being heroes that came in because SEAL Team 6 and the Army rescued SEAL Team 6. And people are always caught up around who shot bin Laden. It's like, well, think about the pilots and the aircrew that came in. And we went in on stealth helicopters, lost one. Imagine the guys coming in on a Chinook that's not stealth. And so Cole would have been one of those guys.
Yeah, he was SEAL Team 10, if I'm not mistaken.
At the time, well, I think he was 6 too. Well,
was he 6?
I'd have to call him.
You could be right.
Because DJ was at my squadron. He was actually in my team. I was his team.
Shipley.
Yes.
Okay.
So Shipley I was his team leader. He was not on the mission. Should have been. He was one of the best ever. And then Cole also. If there was a lot of moving parts. We initially started with 23 guys and the 2 air crews, and just because President Obama wanted to beef it up. He gave us what's called the guerrilla package. So we had more SEALs on more birds, and then we had more Rangers as well, further back to the border, and then into a place called FOB Salerno. So Cole probably was there. I wasn't with him. I don't know.
Okay. So Cole could have been SEAL Team 6. I think here it says SEAL Team 10. But, so he's senior. We're sitting there talking, and I asked him a question. This is my challenge with it. And you're the main guy that can push back on this, so please do so.
Sure.
So for me, I sit there, and here's how I think about it. We hear about the kidney failure Osama was having back in 2002, right? When they're saying these types of kidney failures, you're lucky if you live 6 to 12 months. Best case scenario, 5 years. The guy lives 9 more years. Okay. So there's one camp that says the guy was already dead. Then you have the second camp that says, well, where he was stationed at in Pakistan was 0.8 miles away from the west point of Pakistan, which they call a Kakul, or what a KAKUL, phenomenal name. It's like a military training camp base that they have there. And so that's 0.8 miles. So Pakistan always knew where he was, and that was their way of keeping him control, and that was intentional. If anybody wanted to take him out, they had him under control, and that's the Pakistan. Okay. Third one is when you sit there and think about it and say, all right, we took him out, and then we decide to dump him in the middle of the ocean. Mm-hmm. If we decide to dump him in the middle of the ocean, in the history of America, that's never happened. The only place that's ever happened to is in the movie Optimus, where Megatron is dropped in the middle of the ocean. And I think that movie was like right around the time where the whole scene happens. Then while you're talking about all this stuff, which is really the craziest thing, is after Osama bin Laden dies, when that event takes place, within 18 months, Zero Dark 30 comes out. Yeah. 18 and a half months, Zero Dark 30 comes out. So I go in there and I look into Zero Dark 30 of all the movies that they've done, the producers. It's Annapurna production company. And out of all the movies they've done Hurt Locker, they've done Foxcatcher, the wrestler story. They've done Her. They've done so many big movies that you can go. American Hustle. There's Joy. They've done so many great movies. They've also done The Sausage Party, which I don't know if you know what that is. If you do, you have a certain sense of humor.
I think that's the only one of those I've seen.
Vice is also one. You may have seen Vice as well with Dick Cheney. Do you know out of all the movies they've ever done, I researched to see what was the fastest movie they ever made. The fastest movie they ever made in 18 months was Zero Dark 30. Mm-hmm. So Osama bin Laden dies May of 01, if I'm not mistaken. May of 2011. Mm-hmm. May of 2011. May 2nd, 2011, if I'm not mistaken. Then the movie comes out December of next year, 2012. So you're talking 19 months-ish, year and a half. They've never made a movie faster than that. So I sit there and I say, what did they know? And then there's just too many things for a regular guy like me to question and say, Did we really kill this guy? If we did, why would we dump his body in the middle of the ocean? I don't know. So what do you say to that?
I disagreed with that off the bat because they did tell us even before we went on the mission that was the plan. And again, going back to leaders not really understanding how stuff works, they said they don't want a shrine for Osama bin Laden for people to go worship, not understanding that hardcore Sunni Muslims are not going to go worship a shrine because you worship Allah. That's it. That's why you don't draw pictures of Muhammad.
And I've read that as well. So I agree with you.
So
on
I
that.
disagree.
Yeah.
I didn't dump him in. I didn't see him get dumped in. I get asked now, people will say, how do we know his body's not at the agency in a vat of betadine? I don't know that. When we brought his body to Jalalabad, Afghanistan, we showed Admiral McCraven, who was in charge of Joint Special Operations Command, and the CIA team, especially the woman that Zero Dark 30 was about, showed them the body there. We had a quick debrief around the body discussing exactly what happened. Then we brought his body up to Bagram Airfield where the three-letter agencies did their stuff. And then we handed him over to the Army. And they were Green Berets, maybe Delta. They took his body. That's the last I saw him. I've been told, like everyone else, they dumped his body in the ocean. Wasn't there. So I can't confirm it, but that's what happened there. Let's see. Oh, as far as the kidney dialysis stuff, I think
O2 was when the CIA started reporting he's got kidney issues. He's got maybe 5 to 10 months left.
That's counterintelligence.
Right.
Because sources get paid and they're smart enough to know to tell people enough just to get paid. And I don't want to give too much up because this is my source of income. I come in, I tell them stuff, they get paid, tell them more stuff. If someone comes in and says, yeah, this has definitely bin Laden, I saw the dialysis, the targeter would know, no, you didn't because he didn't have one. So his kidneys were fine.
Okay, so the kidneys are fine. And this is a report that came from who? What's this one?
The Guardian.
Guardian. The president of Pakistan, General Pervez Musharraf, said yesterday he thinks Osama bin Laden had probably died from an untreated kidney disease. I think now, frankly, he is dead for the reason he is a kidney patient. General continued to tell CNN, contradicting U.S. intelligence officials that say they do not know if bin Laden has suffered from kidney problems. He said he knew the al-Qaeda leader had taken 2 dialysis machines into Afghanistan. One was specifically for his own personal use. I don't know if he has been getting all the treatment in Afghanistan. So you're saying this isn't true?
Yeah, I'm saying it's counterintelligence. And then again, as we've seen, especially recently, a lot of media outlets are just an extension of intel agencies. So, and again, I like to just speak from what I've seen. Like I wasn't on the moon, so I can't say they landed there. I was in bin Laden's bedroom. There was no dialysis, and he seemed fine. He was walking when I met him, and there was nothing in there to indicate that at all. Then you start getting into Pakistan. They have every reason because that's the center of the universe in that part of the universe. They have every reason to not necessarily piss off al-Qaeda too much. So being close to the academy, yeah, I mean, the ISI knew he was there. Parts of it did. Parts of the intel, not all of the military, I doubt it. But even when we were presented with it, there was a couple of options to get bin Laden, and we had the team they picked in a room when they were naming the options, and one of them was a multilateral mission with the Pakistanis, and we're like, yeah, try that, and he'll be gone before we even get in the helicopters. So Pakistan knows he's there, and again too, when people ask about the response, we're that close to their West Point. You got to figure up in New York, if we were invaded near West Point, it wouldn't be the cadets showing up; it would be the local police. So the cadets aren't showing up. It doesn't. I mean, yeah, they know he's there, but there's not going to be an assault force. I had a bigger concern going into Abbottabad, Pakistan, wasn't dealing with the Pakistan army. I didn't want to kill a Pakistani policeman because we're in his country, not at war. He doesn't know why we're there. He's doing his job, and I want to be very sensitive. I'm not going to go blast some policeman in Pakistan. So many different moving parts. A lot of them I have theories on. Some of them I've seen, which is what I believe, but the rest is sort of just hearsay.
Got it. So was Pakistan working with you guys as a team? Did they want him to be taken out or no?
I don't know. I know one of their colonels was living across like a couple hundred meters away. And I mean, they could have told us. I don't even know how the intel worked, but he was definitely there. And to the point, I think the Pakistani intel service was working with him so tight. That's why even like Khalid bin Laden was confused on the stairs. They heard something in the front yard. They're not quite sure who's here. Is it the Pakistan military coming in to move us? Maybe, maybe not. Are our tactics that good that we're so quiet? That's also true because we were that good. But I mean, Khalid bin Laden got killed on the stairs because the guy in front of me confused him, just whispered to him, So they're not necessarily like in the guest house guys got shot at. And then there were other shots, but like even going up the stairs, Khalid was armed, but he wasn't shooting down the stairs. Like a lot of guys have, places where I've been in urban combat, fighting up in a house is very dangerous. And he was kind of waiting, not shooting, and there was confusion. So what they knew, what the Pakistanis knew, and then, I mean, just the way that Pakistan was pissed off and embarrassed kind of tells you they knew what was happening. And if I mean, who knows? Maybe the Taliban would have given us bin Laden, even though they said they wouldn't, and then Pakistan might have. But there's a lot of stuff going on. I mean, everything from saving face to the military-industrial complex. You know, whose pockets aren't getting lined if we kill them in Tora Bora in 2002, as opposed to fighting a 20-year war. You know, there's a lot there that, you know, I'm at a point now, since after COVID and the lockdown, it's like, you know, get multiple sources before I believe anything.
Okay, so you're there, you're walking in. You've said this before. You've said he looked like a coward when you took him out.
Yeah.
Right? I think you said he was a coward. He acted like a coward. It reminds me of the speech President Trump gave after, who was it? Al-Baghdadi.
Yes.
He died like a dog.
Died like a dog.
Like a nice little dog. But he was crying. He was doing this. He died like a coward, you know? And he kept going and going and going, right? With this whole, the video that many of us have seen hundreds of times, it's almost comical when they do it, right?
Yeah, when they do it side by side.
Yeah, when they do it, and they say, this is how Obama announced the person died, and this is how Trump in 48 minutes, Obama went like 8 minutes or whatever it was, and he moves on, right? For you, when you're there, I've heard the stories many different times. I've watched, you know, the podcast that you've done. How much training did you guys do going up into this, where the preparation of going in was role played so many times? Or because you don't know if the guy's moving that many times, it's a lot of audibles you have to call last minute.
It's more audibles reading off of each other. Like when I get asked, how did you guys clear a compound that big? Because we master the basics. If you get really good at the easy stuff, you're going to be fine. And there's no need to talk yourself into an ass kicking. So when I get asked that question, how'd you do it? I'm like, well, the guy in front of me went left, I went right, and we just did that over and over. So we were, just because of the combat, when we first started going to war in Afghanistan and Iraq, we just changed our tactics because basically before 9/11, there was fighting, you know, Grenada and Panama and then a little bit in Desert Storm, but we were using Vietnam tactics. Once we started getting shot at by real people in mountains and deserts, you got to change everything up. But when we were told, this team who'd been probably 400 combat missions each, but we'd all been working together at least for 10 years each, when the commanding officer of SEAL Team 6 had us in a room and finally said, the reason you guys are here, is because this is as close as we've ever been to Osama bin Laden. The common answer was, cool. Can we go right now? Because we didn't need to train for it. Like we're ready to go. We know what we're doing. It's obviously the pilots are going to need to know the routes, or they're going to design the routes. They need to know where we're going, what the mountains are. But yeah, we were completely ready for it, and it wasn't. We trained on the outside. They had constructed a compound that looked like the outside, so we could get used to seeing what the exterior looked like. But the second anyone tried to say, well, here's what the inside, don't tell me what you think it looks like, because it won't. Don't tell me how many men, women, and children are there. Tell me how many people you've seen, and I will figure it out when I get there. It's like if you keep telling me, when we go in the front of his house, there's immediately going to be a left-hand turn. That's probably not the case. It'll be a right-hand turn. I don't want to get into situations.
You're saying this right here?
Yeah. So we wanted to know that, and that worked out well because we were supposed to drop part of my team off outside on the north end, and then we were going to the rooftop. But because of the complications with the weather, with the updraft, our pilot just put us off with the snipers again. And we knew from training, off to our left is a double door. We'll just go through there and start the war from here. But don't want you to don't assume anything. My tactics are good. My team is great, and we'll figure it out when we get there. But we trained a lot, and that was more of to show the powers that be, this is what we offer. Because there were different kinds of bombing campaigns. There was a thing called the hammer throw, where we've seen a pacer. We can throw one bomb at him and hit him, but that's never going to work because bombs and grenades aren't like Hollywood, where one blows up and the whole house comes down and 50 people fly into the ditch. It's like, you're going to miss, he's going to run. And even President Obama was so cool. He said, I was never 100% convinced bin Laden was there, but after seeing you, I knew you could show up, find out, and come back.
He told you that?
He didn't tell me personally. He told us in a room at Fort Campbell, Kentucky after the raid. And that was just cool that he had that faith. Just go find out and come back safely.
How many people were in that Fort Campbell meeting?
Well, they had the 23 shooters, the air crews, most of the cabinet. Hillary Clinton did not show up.
This is post.
Yeah, this is after the raid, like a week later.
A week later, you're all in Fort Campbell, Kentucky.
Yeah, it was kind of awkward because a lot of these dudes to this day will never talk. You'll never hear from them. They want to live on a farm and whatever. And then it's, even that night we're there and it says SEAL Team 6 kills Osama bin Laden. a lot of guys are uncomfortable. And then all of a sudden we're doing these dog and pony shows, going everywhere to meet politicians and admirals and generals. And we had an award ceremony in Florida in front of a bunch of people, and guys are kind of like, this isn't good. So it was, and then we met President Obama, at Fort Campbell, after a unit from the Army just got back, probably the 101st up in Campbell. And he met with them, talked to them, and secretively he could come to a room where we were, and that's when he told us that, which is kind of, I mean, he made some good calls that were, they weren't political at all. And it wasn't left or right, because like Secretary Gates is Republican, obviously more Democrats than Republicans, but they made a decision based on what is the right thing to do. And it was before an election. And even though 0 to 30 was fast, it was after the election. And if we screwed that up like President Carter did Desert One, you're not getting elected. Mm-hmm. And so this was not a political choice.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the movie is a little too fast to think about how quickly you produce something. Movies take 3 years, 3 to 5 years to make.
Yeah.
In 18, 19 months, you have it ready to go. And you got clearance from CIA, from everybody. Use some of those, stories. Who knows what
I never thought of that either. I mean, do they have stuff in place they're written already? Have they recorded
Well,
it?
apparently they'll say it was rewritten and they had to change the ending, and they were already working on it, and they bumped it up as their number one priority of a movie to make. Who knows? It's a lot of things that makes you question. But walk me through, when you go in the room and you finally see him, okay? Was there an initial shock, like, oh shit, we actually found him? Was there like boom, 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 boom?
No, it was
like super fast.
It started below the last set of stairs. The woman that found bin Laden was 100% right on every single person in there, even though no one at the agency believed her, which is crazy. But we're at the last set. The guy in front of me.
Who was the woman with CIA?
Yeah. The one the movie was based on. They called her Maya in the movie.
In real life, her name is not Maya.
I promised I would never describe her or say what her name is, but she was that cool, like that good.
Why was she that good?
I don't know. When the best part of the movie 0 to 30, Jessica Chastain nailed it. When she sat down to lunch with the director, Leon Panetta, played by James Gandolfini, and he said, "What else do you do for us?" And she said, "Nothing. I do this." That was just cool. That kind of describes what she was like. She was there.
Did you ever meet her?
Oh yeah, she was the first person that we met when they told us it was bin Laden.
What was her personality like?
Serious. I didn't want you guys anyway. I wanted to bomb this. I know he's there 100%. We'd get done training on that site for 12 hours. Then we'd go back to our rooms and we'd all stand around a 2-scale model that someone had built of bin Laden's house. We would talk about the perfect plan. We discussed contingencies, and every night she would say something similar to, "Okay, guys, right now Osama bin Laden is on the 3rd floor of this house. I don't understand why we're not going. Have a good night. See you tomorrow."
No shit.
Yeah, she knew it, and it was the whole.
Who told her? What gave her that kind of confidence? Her team, or was she a one-man show? Was she like a?
No, it was a team. It was actually a team mostly of women. And they were working everything from Pakistan, from Afghanistan, from the States. I was running the outstations in Afghanistan. So we had all these stations on the border to run sources. In early of 2011, my 12th deployment at an agency base, I think the targeting team for bin Laden was there, and I didn't even know they were there.
Wow.
We were at a point there, like I would do battlefield interrogations on Al-Qaeda guys on target. And in between, like, who were the men in the house? What are their names? What are they doing? Blah, blah, blah. I would just sneak in. Where's Osama bin Laden? And we would both laugh at each other. Both of us, me and a terrorist. Because, like, no one knows. He's gone. And the agency women are right there, and they know it. They're just not saying anything. Like, it was almost to the point where the problem with a lot of these, like SEAL Team 6 and the agency, is that they make too many movies about us, making us look cool. We're not that cool. Well, this team was that cool. The agency team, they were that cool. So when we met her, she every night she would say stuff like that. She wanted to kill him. Because if we hit him with the Air Force's plan, like 22 JDAMs, Joint Direct Action Munitions, 2,000-pound bombs, no one's ever going to find out. She was like, we don't need the DNA. I'm telling you who's there. We can kill him. And so she got to the point where the very first day after she was introduced, she had a PowerPoint brief explaining to us how she and the team found him. And it got to the point where, like, look, we just believe you. I don't need to hear this anymore. He's there. And so I was 100% sure. So at the end, going up the last set of stairs with one guy in front of me, it wasn't a bravery thing on my part. It's because the guy in front of me had taken a shot before I got there. And I got there as a 2-man.
How many seconds before you heard a shot you got up there?
Seconds. Because when we went up the
pow, boom, 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 you go up.
Well, no, he took the shots before.
I know what I'm saying is he takes the shot. You're automatically, why is he shooting? Let me go to where he's at.
The guys behind him, I was about 7 back. They started clearing the second floor. His job as the number one man is pointing up. So he shot before I got to him.
Why did he shoot? What did he shoot
He saw
at?
some faces behind a curtain at the top of the stairs. He saw something.
And you were instructed, if you see it, take the shot.
Well, I mean, if you see Bin Laden, we're going to shoot. Unless he came out of the shower, hands up, like naked. We're going to kill him. He's a suicide bomber. He's got to be. So I got to him, and my job is I want more, because Bin Laden's up there, and I want 2 more dudes. I want 4 dudes. I'll take 2. And I'm ready to squeeze, and he just started saying to me, didn't know it was me, knows it's one of his guys, like, we got to get up there. Not talking so much, but there's movements, because those are the suicide bombers. We can beat them. We got to go now. And for me, it wasn't bravery. It was like, I want to get this over with. I'm fucking tired of thinking about this. And I squeezed him, and we went through the stairs, and he ended up tackling 2 people that he thought were suicide bombers, which to me is amazing.
Who is he? You're the guy ahead
the guy in front of me. So he jumped on. I mean, this is Medal of Honor shit right here. Because I know we're going to blow up in the room. He jumps on people he assumes we're putting on vests.
Wow.
And because, again, left, right, he went this way, I turn here. Here's Bin Laden standing there. And he's holding his wife up. She was wounded. And I saw him, and I was like, he's taller than I thought. He's skinnier. His beard's white. That's his nose. He's not surrendering. And all you need to do to set off a suicide vest that you're wearing is have the leads right here and just touch them. So you can do the whole, I surrender, boom. And it's fast. I've seen suicide bombers, and they're very fast, very permanent and scary and loud, and I'm not dealing with that. Like when I went up there, I was like, let's get it over with. I see him, I blast him. Shoot him again, because, again, not like the movies. Shooting someone in the chest, they have a will to live, and they might survive. With a suicide bomber, especially as a sniper, you aim for the mouth, aim for the forehead. You got to cut him down, and that's just what I did with him. And then move the wife out of the way, and Bin Laden's at the bottom of the bed too. And even with, I'm kind of going off the story here. I love to talk about the humanity of people everywhere. Most people in a combat zone are not combatants. At this moment, after I shot Bin Laden and moved his wife, I looked down, and his 2-year-old son, Hussein, was there. And I'm a father. And I remember my first thought in Bin Laden's house was, this poor kid has nothing to do with this. It's like almost like, what is going on here? Then I move them, and I turn around. I'm going to go back and get the pictures, but I sort of hesitate just for a second, because we're going to die, but shit. And one of my guys, the other CEOs, I was the only guy in his room for a couple of seconds. Other guys were coming in, and one of my guys stopped me, and he goes, hey, you good? And I said, what do we do now? And he said, now we find the computers. We do this every night, man, hundreds of times. I said, you're right. Holy shit. And he goes, yeah, you just killed Osama bin Laden. Your life just changed. Get to work.
Is he the commander?
No.
Were you reporting to him? Or?
No. He was another dude coming in the room. So I'm assuming most guys got into the room eventually. So this was one of the guys from my team. Obviously, I'm not going to say who. But
he's a SEAL Team 6.
Yeah. These were all, at this point, these are all SEAL Team 6 guys.
Out of everybody that went in, you guys are all SEAL Team 6?
Yeah.
Okay. That's the 89-90, or how many people total was that?
On the mission? 23.
23. And then there's another...
Well, we had one guy that wasn't, and I still don't know who he was, but he spoke fluent Urdu without an accent, which I think is just badass. Here's some dude that he can carry a gun. He's really good. He's a shooter. He speaks Urdu. He's an American. It's like, I want to know who this dude is, because that's like, here's a guy that it shouldn't be talking about the guys that killed Bin Laden. That was easy. Go shoot a guy. Who's this dude? That's awesome.
So you kill him. The wife is not dead yet.
No,
she didn't die. Mm-hmm. The son is how old then?
He was 2. I think Khalid on the stairs was 19 or 20.
Khalid on the stairs were 19 or 20. Mm-hmm. The son is 2. That son today is 16 years old. Mm-hmm. Do you ever have nightmares of thinking about that kid coming after you?
I don't have nightmares about him. I and again, this is me being an optimist. I hope he has learned, like, this is not the way to go. I mean, and again, like, I'm not looking for it. And, if they come looking for me, the next guy I kill will be in my own house. I don't want it to come to that. But I know how to deal with them. And it is what it is. I mean, because I'd heard, again, rumors. I'd heard that Bin Laden was even talking to his kids about don't get into this line of work. I've heard Nur Bin Laden, I think, who was his cousin, who said something similar to, well, if you line up 10 members of any family, there's going to be an asshole. He was ours. So I don't know. I mean, I don't want a Bin Laden showing up in New York, but it is what it is. What
is the kid's name? The 2-year-old at the time?
I think it's Hussein.
Hussein Bin Laden.
I believe so.
So Hussein Bin Laden, can you pull him up? Hussein Bin Laden, he is born in 2008, which makes sense. Wife. So Hussein Bin Laden, can you go on his account, on his profile? If we go to him, What did the FBI say about him? FBI said nothing. It's just Osama bin Laden. Family background. Osama bin Laden was famously known as the elder brother or something like that. No, that's a different one. That's a different one. We're talking about the one that was there. Okay. And let me ask, at the time when this happened and you took out bin Laden, is he the first 10 people you've killed in your life?
No.
Or you've been there many times?
Yeah, a lot. Well, he wasn't even the last guy I killed with that gun.
He wasn't the last guy.
No, I did another deployment because we did the bin Laden raid on May 1st, May 2nd, 2011. And we went through an emotional roller coaster with, hey, we did it. Then our names are not our names, but the SEAL Team 6 is out. Then, but it's a high because we chopped the head off the snake. And then in August, Extortion 17 was shot down. We lost 30 guys, 30 Americans.
What was that all about? That's a very weird story.
Right. And that's where the conspiracies come in. Because people don't, it was months apart and they say, well, Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama had SEAL Team 6 killed to shut them up, which is ridiculous.
But if you don't mind kind of going through this, because it was the single biggest event of the most, people getting killed, not tier one.
Oh yeah.
Soldiers getting killed on an operation, and it was the shots fired came down from who?
The bad guys?
The resulting killed 38 people.
Yeah.
And a military working dog on board, including 17 U.S. Navy SEAL, 2 U.S. Air Force pararescue, and you had a couple combat patrol. I mean, this was
huge.
This was huge.
Well, I talked to some of the guys involved. Actually, we backfilled them at Forward Operating Base Shank, where they took off from. And there was a conversation between, I want to say, Jonas Kelsall, who was the commanding officer, and Lou Langlis, who was the master chief. And because they're going in on a quick reaction force, which is dangerous, and they knew where they were going in the Tangi Valley, and they normally have 2 helicopters, but they said something along the lines of the second one's definitely going to get shot down. The first one might not. So they put everybody on 1 helicopter. And it had nothing to do with the bin Laden raid. But people want to, just because it was SEAL Team 6, everyone from the bin Laden raid is still alive. And then but we lost the best guys we had on Extortion 17. Like, we look at those dudes, that's not quite 1,000 years, but hundreds of years of combat experience you can't get back. And anyway, I did go back for them with a different squadron, and I finished up in Afghanistan, 2012.
Okay, so when it was Osama bin Laden, I think the government put a $25 million bounty on him. We put another $25 million was on Saddam Hussein, if I'm not mistaken. President Trump just announced $50 million on Maduro. Why would Maduro be the same as Saddam Hussein and Osama bin Laden combined? Is it just inflation, or is he that much more dangerous than those two combined?
I think that President Trump's looking at the drugs coming in, the fentanyl coming in. We have new opioids coming in now that doesn't even respond to any treatment. People dying from that stuff too. So I'm assuming coming through Maduro, that's got to be something to do with it, the cartels. I think that they're considering a lot of the narco-traffic terrorism, and we'll see if it works. We've never really, it's hard to say what we've never done, but putting political and military pressure on them. There's a lot of, you're stirring the pot with a lot of this stuff too. Everything from international law to, we've got ships down there now, probably subs. Or, you got to be careful. Where are we going to put guys? It's been shifty in the past. But if they consider them a terrorist, just like the cartels, they're going to be able to do what they did in Iran and hit them with bombs.
You think it's going to be harder to catch him or harder to catch Osama bin Laden?
Probably Maduro. Probably harder to get him.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell me why.
If you want to hit it where he's living, hit him with a bomb. That's probably not that hard. But then you're tiptoeing the line of his election is not necessarily the cleanest one ever. He's still an elected official in a sovereign nation, right? So can you just go bomb him because you don't like him? We've tried it a lot, and it hasn't ended well. What do we do then after that? Because we've tried to instill our own guys there too. We've done it before. Try to put freedom places that they don't want it. Is it our job to do that? Stop this shit at the border, which I think they're doing. There's a lot going on. I'm not privy to all of it right now. I know the Secretary of Defense. I know a lot of the guys in the cabinet, but they haven't asked for my opinion.
If you were handed $10 million to go get him, would you be able to know how to get him? Like, you think you can put a team together to get him?
$10 million? Oh, I don't know. I'd have to find my best Spanish-speaking friends, and then I'd look at the private sector with some of their stealth submarine technology. You need to find a way to get inside of someone, so you need human intelligence inside, and you got to get them with a coup, which I think is that happening in Iran right now? What are they doing with the
That's what they did in '79. They're trying to do it again.
Yeah. I mean, it's not something as crazy as the Islamic Revolution, but you're going to need to get him inside. I mean, even with like one of the biggest mistakes we made in Iraq was get rid of the Ba'ath Party. His generals and leadership they don't necessarily believe everything Saddam is doing, but we've seen what Saddam does to people that even cross him a little bit. It's like a vote in North Korea, like they're having a competition who can clap their hands the fastest. But I think if you get into a spot, if we had the Ba'ath Party and just kept him in power, there wouldn't have been a lot of the looting and stuff. There certainly would have been that bad of a civil war between the Sunni and Shia. But again, we just didn't understand it. So what do you do in Venezuela? How do you get a coup in Iran? You don't want to insert the Shah's son, I don't think. You know more about it, obviously, than I do. But somehow you got to find the will of the people. But we've shown before that the people will rise up to a point, and then we just stop supporting him. We did it in early '90s with the Shia in Iraq. We'll come in, we'll get them out of Kuwait, and then we'll march to back. Well, we just backed out. Look what we did in Afghanistan. We'll just leave everything there. We're leaving our allies in central Afghanistan, and you get to the point where who's going to trust us? Like if they're willing to go and they're all in, are we all in? Have we been all in? So it's $10 million. I don't know if it'd be enough.
You don't think 10 million would be enough?
Well, it depends on how many guys. And now we're talking about the private sector, like Blackwater type shit. They're going to want to get paid.
So if it's dead or alive, you're saying 10 million, you don't think you could do it?
Well, based on the budgets that we spend with the military, I don't think 10 million is enough.
What do you think it would take?
I'd have to break it down. I don't know.
What do you need? Like right off the bat, like you
need sources.
So you need like a Maya.
Yeah. Probably
and sources
a local.
like that on the private PMC side. How much do they run you?
Oh, I wouldn't even know there because they're betting their lives on it. I don't even know what it's worth to them. I think 25 million was short on. Yeah, and then if you get someone like that too, if you're a true believer, are you going to give it all up for a little bit of money? You need to pay them more. You need to make it like life altering for their family money, which I mean, 10 million, it's a good start. But if you talk about the logistics that go into it, well, how are you going to do it? I mean, ideally, internally, without dropping bombs. But if you start dropping bombs, how expensive they are, and do you have 10 million for a military operation? Absolutely not. We wouldn't even get the door closed at the Pentagon for $10 million. I mean, toilet seats are $700 a piece.
But I'm talking about if a PMC, if you started a PMC right now, somebody came in and said, "Look, I'm going to fund the PMC. I'm going to run it. You tell me a team to put together. Can you get the job done with a $10 million contract? We'll go get some private military guys."
Mm-hmm.
You're saying you couldn't do it?
No, 50 million probably.
50 million.
Mm-hmm.
So then the bounty's right on the point.
Yeah.
Right on.
You know what? That's a great point right there because I'm sure they did a little bit of math and that's what they came up with.
Well, Erik Prince was on the podcast. I don't know when this was, a year and a half ago. And we're talking about Venezuela. And by that time, there was no bounty on him. Is that it, Rob, where it's at?
I'm still looking for it.
Okay. And he said for $40 million, he could topple the regime in Venezuela. That's what Erik Prince says. And Erik Prince is...
Yeah, he's got the background, too. Yeah. He would know more than I do. And if I said 40 million, I'm keeping 10 myself, obviously.
That's exactly the number.
Yeah.
So you're saying 40, 50 million bucks to get the job done on Maduro.
Mm-hmm. I mean, how much is it going to cost to find out where he is? And then you've got to vet your sources. Is it one guy telling me, or do I have five? And what do they want out of it? Where do they live? Do they know each other? And we need to have confidence in where he's at, so we need proof of life a few times. And then how often does he move? He's not going to be doing the same patterns. He's not going to be taking this, if anywhere. Who are his food tasters? Are they family? You know, what do you poison them? Do you talk him out of it? Do you make him a source? Probably not. I bet they've tried that.
What do you do if you do that? He's going to have to come up here and, hey, where are you going to let me live?
Yeah.
How am I going to live? You're going to put me somewhere in the city of D.C. with all the other informants?
No, I think we'd offer Dubai at that point, just because it's nice.
Is that a model, or is that just I think we should offer him Dubai?
Well,
have we done this in the past with other people?
I don't know.
In Dubai?
I'm just seeing what's happening in Europe and what's happening in parts of the Middle East. They're turning the Middle East into what Europe used to be like.
Yeah.
And it almost seems like, don't mess around here now. Like, I would feel safe going to Dubai. I wouldn't go to London. So
no, there's no question. But why not London? What do you not feel safe about London?
It just seems, well, the first thing would be because of my Twitter handle. Maybe I've said something they don't like about anything from open borders, mass migration to men and girls sports. We just had a dude arrested at Heathrow for his Twitter. He's a comedian, a Twitter handle, arrested, jail. Like they had to bring him to the hospital because of stress levels. I wouldn't go there for that. I don't want to get in a knife fight. That would happen in London.
Easy.
So, but Dubai, like, we would say Dubai's great because they're not going to tolerate it.
It's one of the safest places, by the way.
Right, yeah, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Mm-hmm. It's beautiful. Nothing like it. So, okay, so Maduro, 50 million. Not only does the number sound like pretty accurate, but for you, you don't even know the motive of going after a guy like that.
No, I mean it's the drugs coming in and out, but I think there's probably different ways of dealing with it. You got to start with the Mexican government and what are they getting out of it? Why aren't they stopping it? I mean, look how quick they shut the border down between open borders to now we're shutting it down. Now we're at a point now. I think even with marijuana, like we're smuggling it into Mexico now because we're growing better stuff in California. So I guess it's one of those put yourself in someone else's shoes and what's their motive for being here. Is it because of the drugs? Yeah. Is it because of the violence? Possibly, but the violence comes with the drugs. So, I mean, it's everything from the legalization. Do you make stuff legal so the demand, there's not a reason to kill each other over it? There's a lot involved with this. And as we've seen with everything from like USAID, where's the money actually going? What are people's motives?
How much of your confidence of going and taking him out was in your training, preparation, and how much of it was in Maya and her team that was able to tell you, I know exactly where he's at. He's here right now, third floor. I don't know why you guys are not going right now. How much of it was that? Because when I asked you to go get him, what would you need? The first thing you said is, how am I going to get my intel?
Well, yeah, if we had a team, which they probably do, I'd want to talk to them first. Because like I was saying, months before that, I was joking with terrorists about where's bin Laden, knowing we're never going to find him. But they knew. So right now, someone probably does. It's a question of when do you pull the trigger and how. Because, I mean, even with us, we were told 2-3 weeks before, they already had 5 options they let us know about. Maybe there was more. What else, how else are they going to do it? So there's just so much, there's so much to consider.
Do you automatically see when they put, if you think about the history of us putting bounty on different people, so far, bounty we've put on 2 people at that number, they're gone. Do you think the fact that the U.S. government put 50, this guy's days are numbered, he's going to be done out in no time?
I think the bounty is more of a guys that are close to him and realize they can get the bounty just for information leading to his death. I think that's the money.
So insider turns against him to get the 50.
We've seen it before with, I think, with Uday and Qusay Hussein. I think it was a relative that realized there was like 20 million or something like that on both, and they're both in the same place.
The sons,
yeah. Yeah, it's like, wait a minute, I can just tell him where he is, and then I can get both paychecks. And then if they get some sort of agreement and monetary value, maybe so. Because when you start talking about the budget to kill someone, use the military, they don't really care. It's the incentive.
But what would that look like? If I'm a guy to him where I'm sick of it myself, Venezuela, do I find a way through Signal to get a hold of somebody and say, hey, I know where he's at. I'm an insider. What can you guarantee for me to be safe?
Yes.
And then does somebody say, take him out, we'll pay it to you, and go? How does that communication work?
That's a good one, too, because as we've seen, Signal can get, I don't think anything's really secure when you get down to it. Someone's listening to something, especially with AI now, the way it is. I think that you have to get your team inside who's willing to take the spot on the throne, and then we have to discuss how do we get this out, and then what do we do as soon as it's over type stuff. Because you're making a big announcement of $50 million, people see that. And then the realization, this is closer than I think. So what can the 3 of us here do to take him out? And even plausible deniability, but then with them, how do I get a source? Is that a double or triple agent? Who am I talking to about this? And then Maduro, I've never met him, but it strikes me as a guy that you don't want to be in a room with him and his henchmen when he finds out you double crossed him.
No.
So there's a lot of personal risk there too. And again, it comes back to trust. Who do you trust, especially in the U.S. government?
Who does he trust?
That's it.
Well,
he's paying his guys off too.
I know, but $50 million? Once they announce something like that, you paying your guys that kind of money? I don't think so. They just seized $700 million of his assets. By the way, his plane is 500 yards this way.
No kidding.
No, I'm telling you, 500 yards. This airport right behind you, there's a part where it's about, probably quarter of a mile. All the planes that is there is planes that the government has seized from individuals. They seized $700 million of the guy's assets, multiple private jets. One of them is right here.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know he had a lot of assets, and it's another thing, too, with how
right there, $700
how much
million.
does, oh, wow.
$700 million.
Now, does that put a big damper in what he's got going on? Because, when we hear Elon Musk is the richest person in the world, I bet Vladimir Putin has more money than he does.
You're in that mindset? You think he's got more money?
Oh, yeah. There are dudes in Saudi Arabia having, 747 competitions, who can buy one for their buddies type. Like there's people with a lot more money than Elon Musk. And is he one of them? He's in the drug trade. He's in the right spot, country that he runs. What's his GDP?
I guess but even if he got 700 million,
that's a chunk of change.
If they're trying to give $50 million, 700 million is not a lot of money to keep all your guys happy. So if the U.S. government really wanted to divide and conquer, the 50 million creates such a distrust in your team. What do you do next?
Well, that's it too. It creates distrust. That's why I guess you got to keep your circle small.
Yeah.
But then who are you dealing with the United States? Like you have a source that tells you they're going to pay this money or get it to. Who are they for? I mean, is it a test of loyalty? And again, that's back to the whole thing of once we get rid of them, don't necessarily get rid of the entire regime because they do know the chain of command.
Rob, how many big bounties has the U.S. government ever put on someone's head? Like, think about the big bounties. I'm actually curious. We know about three of them so far.
Mm-hmm. I know Bin Laden, Saddam Hussein. I don't think they even put one in Iran. Maduro, and then I'd have to look that up. I don't know.
Rob, are you looking it up? I'm talking about Rob.
Yeah,
Rob Son, and what's your deal? Osama bin Laden. I'm actually curious because what I'm trying to find out is, who has survived it, who has made it, who has been able to. Osama had 25, Saddam had 25, Imad Mougnehi had 15, raised to 25, Uday and Hussein, 15 million apiece.
Yeah.
Maduro's got the 50 now. What is the, when Khomeini would put a fatwa on different people, he put on a Salman Rushdie.
Yeah.
When he wrote that book, Satanic Verses, nothing happened to him at the beginning. Later on, he was stabbed.
Yeah, he got stabbed
at one event.
On stage. Yeah.
Who's that? Fausto Isidro Meza Flores, El Chapo Isidro. Rob, can you check how many of these people are alive?
Because a lot of them we mentioned were eventually taken out by the military.
Well, that's what I'm thinking. What I'm trying to think is the ultimate fatwa is when the U.S. government puts it on you, if you think about it, right?
Oh, yeah.
So what's the likelihood you're going to make it?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, some of the ones we were at war in the country or a country nearby. But again, Uday and Qusay, even Saddam in the hidey hole, like someone knew he was there so they can get paid. So the monetary aspect works. And I think with Maduro, it's going to be different because not so much Saddam, but Osama bin Laden surrounded himself with true believers. So the money doesn't matter to them, and they want to be martyrs anyway. So the money means nothing. But yeah, with him, I mean, it's going to be the guys around that want to get paid. It's going to be that simple, but it's a question of how do we do it. And
yeah,
I mean, if that could be the reason that we have so many not so many, but the military assets that we have around South America right now are enough to launch.
Yeah, but if you work for Maduro and Maduro's got $700 million of assets that was seized, of taking money away from its people, and you yourself are making $3,000 a month, and you're kind of like, wait a minute. You stole from the people, and you haven't taken care of me and my family, and I'm working like a slave? Wait a minute. Why am I going to do this for you? You stole. It's not like you made this money the right way. I'm willing to take the $50 million. Handful of people round up, boom, they go in. So who knows? I don't know what's going to happen here. By the way, going back to Osama bin Laden, the story about when, I don't know who it was that came out and said, hey, they went to the government. They said, we'd like you to release the 59 pictures you took of Osama bin Laden and the one video. And then they came back and what did they say? There's two reasons why we don't want to release them. One of them is what it's going to do to increase the temperature because those pictures are going to be used to create hate and anger against. And there was another reason why they didn't want to release it. Did you agree with them when they didn't want to release the pictures and the video?
No, I think they should release them just for the argument of we didn't kill him or we killed a body double. And now, I mean, even if we showed people, it's going to be, that's AI generated, so it's fake. People that don't believe they don't want to believe. And then it is true that it's violent. Like, it's not like a video game, and his face was destroyed, literally holding it together to get a picture. So we do have the ones taken from his bedroom, and then we have the professional ones taken after at Bagram Airfield. I don't know why they haven't released them. I don't know why I said you should hang them from the Brooklyn Bridge and let the vultures take care of them. That's the solution. everybody can look, but they don't want to. They didn't want to. They said about the shrine. But then the videos, as far as I know, I mean, I didn't carry a camera. I don't know anyone that did. We're not big into carrying video cameras the same reason, you know, for the same reason cops do it. They get busted later. And I've even seen from personal experience with Monday morning quarterbacks who were 5,000 miles away from his bedroom, but they know everything that happened. So I would rather not have video than have guys end up in prison if something bad went down. That at the time, because you're making life and death decisions in the blink of an eye. And if you have months or years to analyze movement, that's the problem. So I don't know anything about the video.
Yeah, that's the one right there. Risk of inflaming anti-American sentiment and threats to national security if the photos were used as propaganda by terrorist groups. So as of 2025, photos were in CIA and Pentagon classified archives, and have never been released to the public. And 2012, Judicial Watch filed the Freedom Act, but nothing happened to it. So when you're there, did you guys have cell phones or no?
I did not. I don't know if anyone did. I did have a camera, but it was 2011, so it wasn't an iPhone. It was a little camera. Other guys had cameras too, as far as I know.
Were people taking pictures at the time or not?
Just the official ones in his bedroom.
Just the official ones in the bedroom?
Well, they weren't official, but they were from the shooters. Because a lot of us carry cameras just based on the amount of shooting and killing we did. They would like pictures, almost like a crime scene. Can you get a picture, please, of what went down when you went in the room, which is kind of a pain in the ass, but fine. So we all had, and we knew we wanted to get pictures back. God forbid one of the helicopters with his body gets shot down. We had redundancy with DNA of body, and then different pictures were taken.
How did they know? How would they know that some of you guys didn't keep those pictures yourself?
I don't.
Oh, no, I'm not saying that. But I'm saying, say somebody's like, dude, I'm going to keep this, and one day I'm going to give it to my grandson. When he doesn't believe it, I'm going to keep it. How do they know? Some guys didn't take their own pictures? They don't, right?
No, I mean, it must have been a trust thing, I guess. I know me personally, and I can't speak for everyone, it was more of a get in, get them, and then let's see if we can live. I don't have time for all this other shit. Like, I will get the evidence. I will get the body. I will find the intelligence. We got 23 minutes. It took us 47 minutes. We got to get out of here. We got to blow up that helicopter. Let's go. I want to see my kids again. Hey, what is up? This is Robert J. O'Neill, former SEAL Team 6 operators. I was fortunate to be on some of the most high-profile missions in our very long war on terror, but I am now on Connect, and you can connect with me there, and we can literally talk about anything. You can text, we can do video calls, I can give you messages, and go to Connect, find me. Literally nothing is off limits. Any crazy questions you have that you may or may not want the answers to, I'm more than happy to do it. So find me on Connect. Again, this is Robert J. O'Neill. See you there.
Okay, that's interesting. So, when did you feel comfortable yourself publicly talking about this? Because this isn't the first time you've been asked this, where within the community, especially when you're, SEAL Team 6, to openly come out and talk about it, it's a little bit of a risk you have, not from anybody like us, but it's from your own peers that may say, hey, Rob, what are you doing? Why are you talking about this?
Yeah, it started immediately because some of the guys on the mission weren't on the third floor. They were on the second floor, first floor, outside rooftops. The first question they got asked, that they asked when hey, Geronimo, EKA, who got him? And people said, I got him. It was actually kind of funny to me. I'm known for like keeping morale up, telling jokes and stuff like that. And my nickname was actually Nizro, NSRO, stood for Navy SEAL Rob O'Neill, Nizro. And the most common thing was Nizro got him. And I guess they would say, shit, we're never going to hear the end of this. Kind of joking. But that happened. And then, so on the way, people knew. We got picked up, guys on the helicopters. We're asking guys on the helicopters. We landed at Bagram. There were air crew guys, mechanics. They're pointing at me. Everyone knows. We all stood around his body. When we landed, the ground force commander, I won't say his name, he's still in. He went to Admiral McRaven, who was there, said, do you want to meet the guy who killed him? And he said, yes. He brought him over to me in front of the whole team. Admiral McRaven said to me, your life just changed. Like that. And then from there, guys got emails. They went home to Virginia Beach. We know guys in DC, New York, and Coronado. Guys are calling me because, hey, don't tell anybody, because they all ask who got him. So now bartenders know, everyone knows, to the point where, to me, it's almost like, look, the team got him. I turned right because of the guy in front of me. I don't need this shit. And it did turn awkward. So you're not getting the toothpaste back in the tube on this one. And then it slowly just came out, even to the point when I did go back to Afghanistan. I did another deployment, got in more gunfights. But when I left, the first time I talked about it publicly was when I donated the shirt that I wore and the flag that I wore into Bin Laden's bedroom anonymously. Like, it's there at the 9/11 memorial still anonymously. I'm not taking credit for this. Carolyn Maloney, who's a Democrat representative from New York. She helped me get the thing in the museum, but then we went back to a back room, and there was 30 so families of people who lost family members on 9/11, and she asked me just to say a few words. So I told the story of bin Laden, going into his room, seeing him, killing him. There was even firefighters in there. I had the FDNY patch here just so that you're going to see this if I aim my gun at you. And the response was mainly, there will be no healing, but this is closure, having a face with a name. And I was like, my name's already out. I have written journals. I'm going to try to get it authorized by the Pentagon, which is the way to go. The Pentagon then gives it to the other agencies for the official version, and they signed off on it. And I just thought if I can help 30 families with healing, I can help a couple 100,000 just with a face and a name. So, long story short, that's how it came out. But, my plan was to stay in the Navy for 30 years, grow a kick-ass mustache, and be an instructor in Coronado. That's it. But, you want to make God laugh, tell him what your plan is. So it was not like I just, killed him and then got on Fox News and started saying, look at me, everyone.
The book, The Operator, how long did the approval process of the book take?
That only took about 8 months for me, and that was surprising. I thought it would still be there. Yeah, because it has to get approval from everyone involved, and I'm assuming like SEAL Team 6 would see it and just throw it right in the trash, or someone at the agency. But it was, I think it was well written, and it wasn't a political bias. I started taking my notes because in 1996, when I checked into SEAL training, my father, who thinks I'm involved with everything, he said, even before I got there, he said, there's a picture of drown proofing in Life magazine with these SEAL candidates tied up in a pool. And he goes, I see the calves on that guy with his back turned. That's you, I can tell. And I'm like, Dad, I'm literally not even in the Navy yet. That is not me. But he told me.
Was he a military guy?
No. Just he's my. I grew up playing basketball with him. Obviously, grew up with him.
Your dream was to go into college basketball and
work with him. Yeah. But it's just. He said, start writing a journal. Someone's going to want to read your book. This is back in 96. Start writing a journal. Someone's going to want to read it. And my response to him was, who is going to want to read my book? No one. But I did that. And so I had a manuscript, and then I just put the extra chapters in. I was like, you know what? I'll get it edited, and we'll just see what happens. And they approved it. The only thing they took out was the letter 6, and they made me say Special Forces instead of Delta.
To say what? And my years as a SEAL Team 6 warrior?
It doesn't. They took SEAL Team 6 off there. My years as a SEAL Team warrior.
Got it.
And so you'll see.
Why did they want that?
I don't know, because they had to. Because if you read the book, it says spent 8 years at SEAL Team 2, and then at SEAL Team 4, and then 8 years at SEAL Team edited. It's like, that's kind of cool, I guess.
That was them. That's them telling you this.
Yeah, they edited that out, put Special Forces, and then even my publisher said, I think we have a book. Like, this is ready to go.
So how after the book was released, your peers, the guys that were there, the guys that are in the game, the guys from prior to you, post you, how many of these guys called and were supportive? How many were like, dude, what are you doing?
Well, it was explained to me when I got, 2 things were said to me I'll never forget. The day I checked in, so I finished selection that we call Green Team, checked into Red Squadron. The 2 things that were said to me were, when we all retire and get out, if we all work together, we'll be millionaires, but that's never going to happen. Didn't make sense to me. And then they also—
Who said this?
My commanding officer at Red Squadron, who's a great guy. I don't want to say his name because he's not here. Great guy. He's out now. I think he retired as an admiral, which is very cool. And then the other thing was, you're on a freight train right now that's going 200 miles an hour that way, and you can stay on as long as you like. Once you jump off, it's going to keep going. So there's guys I haven't talked to since. There's guys I've heard from that are fine, that are supportive, just because I did it the right way. And there are other dudes not so much, but face to face, everyone's been cool. I've had guys say, don't quite understand why you wrote a book, which is cool. And then, my comeback to them is like, well, we don't write books. I'm like, yeah, I saw that. I read that in a bunch of books written by Vietnam SEALs. I've seen it at Barnes & Noble in the military history section. No one writes books. But I'm happy that people, I wish everyone on that raid would write a book, including the aircrew, because I'm very happy that George Washington had a biographer when he crossed the Delaware. I know what happened that night. I doubt he was standing up in the icy conditions, but I want to know that brave men went to do that to build the nation. And I want to know, people now are more interested in the training to get there and the helicopter ride in and the helicopter ride out than they are what happened on the target. Because who gives a shit? Bin Laden's dead. The team got him. But like I said, the humanity. Riding in, one of my best stories is when we're riding in 90 minutes, these pilots have been flying these helicopters for a week and a half. They're the best in the world, thank God, but we don't know if they work. We don't know if there's a private first class in the Pakistani armor looking that way with his finger on a red button waiting for helicopters instead of watching India. We don't know that. We could get shot down. 90 minutes. We got to live. So if you're worried about something, your worry is not going to affect. You're wasting your energy. So on the ride, I'm with dudes. I've known everything about them. We train together, we shoot together, war together, skydive together, all this stuff together. And I'm looking around the helicopter on the flight in as I'm counting to keep my mind off it, counting to 1,000 and back. And the funniest, like I laughed at this. I looked down and one of my guys had put his headphones on, listening to music, and he fell asleep. And my thoughts to him were, "You're asleep." Literally on the ride to Osama bin Laden's house. Wow. You have ice in your veins, and I see why women find you attractive. This is just awesome. I remember thinking that and then laughing. I'm like, what the shit are we thinking about? And then we get further in, and I don't know how I remembered it, but I have the tattoo. Is
he still alive?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And I said to myself as I'm counting 556, 558, freedom itself was attacked this morning by a faceless coward, and freedom will be defended. And I don't know, that's what President Bush said on 9/11. And that's like the realization, holy shit. This is the team, man. We're going to kill him. And if we die together tonight, what a fucking ending. But he's going to die, and we might die with him. But that's why they sent us. Like we're not taking him alive.
I mean, if you go like this, you said what?
Well, yeah, yeah. And and my joke too is like, if they SEAL Team 6, we were like dropping a bomb. We're just going to tell you that we're going to tell you what happened on board. Pretty much everyone's going to die inside if they're bad guys. If they want him captured, there are nicer guys in the military than us.
How many people got killed in that?
On our guys or theirs?
Their guys.
4 dudes and 1 wife. And that was even something weird too that tells you about rules of engagement and how they're ridiculous. Why would you hamstring, the middle linebacker on the first play on defense? When I got in, because they dropped us off, we blew a door that didn't work, came in through this way. There was already a gunfight in the guest house in the front, and one of my guys had shot through from the outside through, and he killed the courier and his wife. And he's a team leader. Like, he's a senior chief in the Navy, very experienced. And I came in, and he goes, shit, she just jumped in front of him. Am I in trouble? And I'm like, dude, forget, why? Let's go find Osama bin Laden. Fuck the rules. It's like, she jumped up. She's a martyr. That's a good sign. She's martyring herself. Yes, he's in here. Come on. Why? What lawyer told you should be worried about shooting the wrong person? That's why you don't carry cameras, whatever. We're here to kill Osama bin Laden. We're in Pakistan. I think that's illegal anyway. Like, we're under Title 50 right now.
Nobody got in trouble, right? Nothing.
No. And we're really good at, this isn't, okay, I don't want this to sound wrong. We are really, really good at compartmentalizing what happens. And I would even tell my guy, because you got officers outside, enlisted inside. And I don't want to put you in a position where you report to your commanding officer. I don't want you to be full of shit either. You tell the truth, but we're going to tell you what the truth was. And I'm serious, because I don't want that Monday morning shit coming around. The best example
We're going to tell you what the truth was.
Yes, and it's going to sound exactly the way they're going to write the movie. Like 3 shots on the Somali pirates, sure. But one of the examples I have is Iraq. One of the best summers of my life was 2007 in Iraq, because I'm a young Navy SEAL, SEAL Team 6. I'm here to hunt people, and I want to. And so it was the gloves were taken off. We're on kill missions to kill Al-Qaeda, because they're torturing the Sunnis. Like, they'll show up in town, so we're going to find them and kill them, and then the Sunnis start helping us. But like, we would do target. If we only killed 11 guys in one night, we're like, why'd we waste our night? Like, there's more out there. But we would hit a target. It's your target or not, but you find intelligence. Oh shit, the neighbor, he's got back. So you run over there, hit the target, whatever. And we were really good. Like, we're not killing everyone. The more latitude, like when I bring up lawyers, the more latitude you give us, the better we're going to be. We're going to play shot. I'm not going to hurt these people. We're the good guys. Like the 2-year-old son, Al-Qaeda wouldn't have done that for us. But we're going to do this, whatever. But it's so fast, because we want to leave before the sun comes up. With our helicopter pilots can handle it, but I don't want to put them in danger daytime shit. So when we would wear our those quarterback things they wear, and we'd keep our maps and shit. And one of my officers kind of came in. So he's the commanding officer. We're doing our thing, and I was like, "Hey, we found this here. We're in building 211. I want to hit building 370. So we're going to go over there right now." And I look at him and my boss, and I said, "Shit, sir. You know what? You're in charge." And he looked at me and said, "Oh, Make no mistake, I'm not in charge. I'm responsible. You're in charge. Don't fuck me. And then, it's like, I got the macro, you got the micro. So we would do that. And even when he walked.
That's the truth.
Yes, because he could get in like, if we did something maybe a general would be pissed about.
Right.
I don't want him to know that happened. I will tell him it was very clean. We went in, boom, bad guy, here's his gun, there's a picture.
So is it kind of how your kids eventually get to a point where they sit down together, have a meeting and say, look, guys, we're going to have each other's back. No one's going to snitch on anybody. And if mom and dad ask what happened, we're all going to say the same thing. We will solve it together here, but we're not going to tell them everything that happened. Is it a little bit like that?
I think so. And if my kids...
Depends on kids. I'm just saying I know some kids, maybe 4 of them. But
if they were doing it for the right reasons and didn't hurt anybody, I can appreciate their loyalty to each other.
Yeah.
If they hurt someone, I have a problem with that. It's like, don't just lie to me because you're trying to get it. I would rather have, deal with the consequences now because I screwed up and admit it.
Yeah.
Like some of the best bosses I've ever had. Because if anyone says they don't screw up every day, they're just lying. I would screw up all the time. And some of my best bosses would I remember 2 in particular, they wouldn't come up to fight because I'm ready. I'll get defensive. I'm going to defend my position or whatever. They would just say, you're just so much better than that, and leave. It's like, oh, I'm never going to let you down. I'm better than that. Shit. I was ready to fist fight, get my ass kicked too, but you expected more out of me?
When's your birthday?
April 10th.
My dad's April 10th. You're always like, your mind is always like this, fast. How did you adjust from that to civilian where everything slows down?
Oh, really difficult.
Is that why the whole DMT thing you got on? Like, is that's what helps you slow down a little bit, or?
No, DMT helps with the post-traumatic issues.
That's what I'm, because
yeah.
But even you, like there's some SEAL team guys you talk to, they're not as,
I talk really fast.
But that's because this is going very fast, right? So that translates into this. How do you slow yourself down? Are you able to, or?
Well, I quit drinking, so that helps.
You make better choices.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Yeah, I've never, what I like about that is I have to apologize less. Like, check my Twitter, and then, I got a bunch of phone calls to make on this one.
By the way, you know what Twitter needs to do? They need to almost say every tweet and put your alcohol level next to it.
I was going to say that.
There's 0.18.
There were years where I wish I had a breathalyzer on both my phone and my steering wheel. Like, okay, we're good. No, the DMT thing, because, again, the humanity, the realization, I'm fortunate that I've never killed anyone on accident. And this is weird, too, especially out of the combat. I've never seen one of my friends get wounded or killed in front of me. So I'm fortunate, but I do often wonder about some of the guys I've killed. Because at SEAL Team 6, like, the furthest kill that I've ever had was outside. It might have been 20 yards away. Most of them were in rooms, and a lot of them were in front of family members. And there was one house in particular, one guy in particular I think of every day, because I remember in Iraq, I think Ramadi, coming into a room as a one man. There's a guy in the main room, blast him, and then I had to do I did a one man entry on a room that was open because there's levels of threats. One is an open door, you got to get the open door, and then there's unknowns and shit like that. So I went in kind of on a one man entry, which is not, you don't want to do that. You want a buddy, never want to go alone. But I went into a room and there's this dude laying next to his wife, and it's 2 a.m. And I go in there, and he's got an AK-47 right there. And he wakes up, he starts throwing these kicks, and I'm thinking, okay, I just woke you up. I'm going to give you a minute, calm down. Okay, come on, whatever. And he starts going for his gun. And I'm saying to him, I don't know if he speaks English, but I'm like, no, don't go. And he goes for it, blah, I kill him. And then his wife sees it, and his kids are there. And so one thing I wonder is, now, did I just kill a terrorist, or did I just make 3 more? Then I start wondering, well, why did this is later on, this is like 7 years later. It's like, why did I shoot that guy? It's like, well, because he went for his gun. But why did he go for his gun? Well, because I'm in his room at 2 a.m. Why am I in his room at 2 a.m? Well, George Bush decided on a personal vendetta that we should just invade Iraq. Now he's dead. And then you start to get further into it. If I'd met this dude over coffee somewhere else in a different country, did he know a joke? Was he cool? Probably not. Terrorist. But your mind starts to wonder about shit like that. And then it's like, depression comes with that, a little anxiety, sleeplessness. Like, there were times when I'd have to lay in bed and turn something on, or green noise on my phone. I can't let my mind wander into this space. So I got into like DMT and stuff like that. Ibogaine especially, because it helps with the PTSD. But PTSD is not like I saw a funny one. not funny, but they talk about PTSD like, 4th of July sucks because it reminds me of, my wife had sex with someone else and now I'm afraid of fireworks. Shit like that. It's not the loud bang, but it's when you get in your own head. And I just had 2 guys go down. We have to go to Mexico for psychedelics because it's not legal in the country because it works. And they went down and I had a buddy's wife call me and say, yeah, he's drinking heavily and I need something to happen. Go to Mexico, take Ibogaine, do DMT, and then they're just different people. So it's the PTSD though is a weird, it seems for everyone it's 7 years later.
Yeah. I had a friend of mine who was Delta when he was, he got my orders. So he ended up doing 20 years. We met at Fort Campbell, Kentucky. Missing for 12 years. Can't find him. Finally find him. He's doing his 20, he's getting out. Hey, let's meet up. What's going on with you? I'm having a really hard time. Where are you? Somewhere in Europe. I'm going to come visit you. I'll go to Europe to visit him. Sitting down. He is really going through it. Good guy. I think he's been married 2 or 3 times. Didn't work out. The type of guy that you want as your buddy. Like that kind of a guy. Came out, went through it very hard for about 4 or 5 years, and eventually was able to find a way to enjoy his life, and he's back to being a civilian. Doesn't live in the States. He's out. He's completely... He told me something. He says, Pat, anything I saw in the news, I know what we did, and we gave the truth. Like, I'm there. I'm all the major things of what happened, I was involved in many of these things. I don't believe anything the media tells. Were you ever at a point where you're in there and you're seeing how it's being reported to the media? You're like, yeah, that's wrong. That's wrong. They're full of shit. Nope. Okay, great. I don't trust nobody. Did that happen to you?
Yeah, it did. I wanted to believe. Well, when I got out too, I went and worked for Fox News for a while. I was interviewed on major media stations, and to be fair, I had positive experiences with everyone except PBS. They were horrible. But yeah, now just having seen, and I'm not picking on Fox at all of them. Having seen like the 7 a.m. meetings with the senior producers. Here's the narrative we're going to push. Here's what you're not allowed to say. We are going to push this and say whatever. And then even so far up the chain.
That's what Fox would say.
No, not Fox. I've been in the meetings, but I've seen similar stuff. I'm not trying to. I just worked there, so I'm not trying to pick on anybody. Fox has been great to me, and CNN's been great to me. But they all have those meetings. They all have the agenda. They're all supposed to push something, and a lot of it's not true. A lot of it's political agenda and why. Who's getting paid for what? There are smart people on every network that have said shit that it's like that's not true. What's your agenda? Why are you getting paid for that? There's, everything from the, I was banned from Delta Airlines for not wearing a mask, but you're not allowed to say masks don't work but they don't work. So I don't, a lot of this shit coming out. That's why I'm glad Elon Musk bought X, because that's the fastest breaking news we're going to get. Is it always true? Probably not. The algorithm's going to push the agenda that, 1 minute you're looking at breaking news and then all of a sudden there's midget wrestling, whatever.
Some people like that though.
Well, yeah,
midget wrestling's entertainment for some people.
Anyone getting in the ring, beating each other up, you gotta, respect.
Yeah, there's a business model for it.
But the Delta guys too, like your buddy, when they were in some shit over there, they saw the worst of it. So it is to hear guys talk about it though, and just acknowledge they asked a lot out of all of us. And it's not even the SEAL Team 6 or the Delta guys. Think about the dude that no one knows about who was an E5 in the Army and just drove around like Route Irish in Iraq. And all you're thinking, you don't even have to have been blown up, but thinking, am I going to blow up now or now or now? Am I going to blow up now? Like just the stress on you. And then it happens. I've heard of guys, didn't know, that died leaving the shitter from a mortar.
Wow, what a way to go.
There's no front lines. We're not fighting in trenches. They are now, God forbid, with those drones. But there's so much stress there too. I mean, just guys admitting it is incredible. But like for me,
dying like you're in the shitter, you're leaving to get blown up.
Like with a magazine going to the talk to get a brief, and then boom, just random shit. But what
smelly everything, and you're going to heaven. It's like, hey,
life can't get any worse.
Let me tell you, am I making it to heaven or no? That's not the way you want to go.
Speaking of that, though, going to heaven and psychedelics, the medicine talks to you. It's you talking to you. Your brain opens. One of the coolest things, especially 5-MeO, DMT said to me was the only people who go to hell are people who think they deserve to. And it sort of told me about healing and forgiveness. Right there. It says, you think you're good, that if you can love yourself and forgive yourself, then you're going to be okay.
Did you see what Trump said recently? He says, if I'm able to broker a peace deal, did you see this one or no?
Depending.
Okay, you have to see this one. Rob, do you know which one I'm talking about?
Was it Ukraine?
No, he says, if I'm able to go and break a peace deal between these guys, he says, I think I'm going to heaven. Have you seen this one?
No, I love
have to see this. You have to see this. I can't believe he said this. I thought at first it was a joke, but he's being interviewed. Do you have one of those clips saved, Robert?
Yes,
you have it
hang on.
somewhere.
Yeah.
So he says, look, I think this is going to lock in a spot for me to go to heaven if I can broker a peace deal between, you have it somewhere, Bob. Is this the one?
Yes.
I want to end it. You know, we're not losing American lives. We're not losing American soldiers. We're losing Russian and Ukrainian, mostly soldiers. Some people, as missiles hit wrong spots or get lobbed into cities like Kiev and towns. But, you know, if I can save 7,000 people a week from being killed, I think that's a pretty... I want to try and get to heaven if possible. I'm hearing I'm not doing well. I'm really at the bottom of the totem pole. But if I can get to heaven, this will be one of the reasons. Well, I think I saved a lot of lives with India, Pakistan. They were going at it. The planes were being shot down. That was going to be maybe a nuclear war if I let that go. And I did that through trade.
His sense of humor.
He's funny. He showed me the Lincoln bedroom in his first term. We went to dinner at the White House. It was actually me and Pete Hegseth and my wife Jessica and his wife Jen. And we went, well, it was funny too, because my wife Jessica gets starstruck. And I we found out and I said, hey, pack a bag. We're going to the White House. And she said, oh man, is it going to be big dinner? And I said, no, intimate. And she said, am I going to be sitting near him? I said, you're going to be sitting right next to him. And she said, oh my God, what do I say? And I said, well, that's the good news. You don't need to say shit because he won't shut up the whole time. And he's funny. But he said with the Lincoln bedroom, we went up there to see it. And that was one of those moments looking at Lincoln's bed where his son died. Yeah, that's before he ran too. That's in the tower. There's one in the White House.
What was he like for you? What was it?
He's awesome. He's because the first time I met him is when he was judging or running the Miss USA pageants, and I was a judge. So I met him. Yeah, weird. My first job was in D.C., so I got to see behind the curtain a little bit. Very up and up. I wasn't aware of the filth that goes on there yet. I believe because I came from a team and I believed in stuff. Yeah, if you look up the White House dinner, it's on there. But no, his sense of humor is awesome. He's just a funny dude. He's a big heart. But when we went to Lincoln's bedroom to see Lincoln's bed, Lincoln's desk where he famously wrote those, like he's pissed off, write a letter, but not send it.
Yeah.
And then looking at the South Lawn at night, and then there was a desk with, underneath his glass on the desk was the Gettysburg Address signed by Abe Lincoln. And I'm having this out of body, like I've seen a lot of shit, but this is one, and I turn around and he said something along the lines of, he said something along the lines of, not everybody gets to see this, unless, of course, you donate to the Clinton Foundation. And I'm like, you just can't stop. Like, you can't even let me out. But it was just funny the way he said it. Yeah, he's a good dude. Look, he didn't need to do this. He has a good life. If you like being a billionaire and married to a supermodel, that's a pretty good life.
Did he ask you a question and say, hey, so tell me, did it really happen or not? I don't believe it happened.
No.
That never was brought up. So what was the occasion? What was the purpose of the dinner? Why did he invite you?
I met him at first because he said he was thinking about running for president. Okay. So, and I was in Dallas, which is fine. I'm single in Dallas. And I'm like, I got nothing going on. I'll fly up to New York and go to Trump Tower. So we met there. And then he was elected. And I knew Pete Hegseth from Fox. We were both working at Fox. And I don't even know, well, it was his first term, so Pete probably wasn't even in consideration for SecDef. So he just said, you want to go to dinner at the White House with Donald Trump? I'm like, well, yeah, I want to go. I'll grab my wife. If she wants to come, I'm coming. I'll be there. And it was even to the point where...
Were you supportive of him at the time?
Yes.
Okay.
When I had just gotten out of the military...
So I know in 2018 you said something like the parade was bullshit or...
No, there was different... Well, I'm not a yes man. I'm just going to tell him what I think. Well, the parade, and I said, because you're not, I didn't tell him personally, but my thought was, what you're not considering.
Was that one of those breathalyzer tweets? Is that
no, this was sober. The breathalyzer tweets usually come with a mugshot. No, it was what you're not considering, again, is the human element. Because we still had guys in Afghanistan, and it's like, should these troops, should they be at home with their families, or do you want them practicing marching for a few weeks? They don't need to do this. Our Abrams tanks were not designed to go down Constitution Avenue. They're designed to invade Iraq. This is a bad idea. Now, the way they did it now was kind of cool with the I think it was the Army's anniversary. It's kind of neat, but again, did those troops want to be there? Even one of my guys, one of my Green Beret I went to treatment with, he said, you see how shitty those guys were marching? I'm like, they didn't practice because they don't care. They shouldn't be marching. Just let them go out there and walk. And then you stop critiquing them, Master Sergeant. What the fuck? But I mean, at first, I think it was a bad idea. I still don't agree with that in D.C. But
sitting down with Obama in Fort Campbell, sitting down with the president, What did you notice a similarity? Any similarities between charisma, charm?
Charismatic as hell. Both of them.
Both of them.
And I've met President Bush too. I met President Biden. I met President Biden before President Biden. I met him as a vice president, so he still had his.
He had his stuff together.
Charisma's cool. To get to that level, you have to have a certain aura. President Obama is a lot more polished. And cool. He's just cool. When he came in the room when we were at Campbell, we were all in good moods because we're alive. But just to hear, hey, everybody, like President Obama's there with his tie and whatnot, and President Biden is there. That was just cool. Trump's different because he's more of a dude. He's more. I mean, I know President Trump better than President Obama, but like I think you could have a beer with Obama. My buddy Dakota Meyer was a Medal of Honor recipient. I know he finished half because like I got to give a speech. Trump doesn't drink. But he'd be just cool as shit to hang out with. Trump's a guy's guy.
Yeah. Can you imagine the guy doesn't drink, doesn't do drugs, doesn't do any of that stuff, but he's a guy's guy.
Yeah, he is.
And he really is a guy's guy.
Yeah. And he gets out there like he was playing in the Rose Garden, his new sound system.
Yeah.
And he's out there and he's kind of doing the dance up on the rooftop. But my thought was, well, here's a dude that runs these, like his hotels are the best I've stayed in. Here's a guy that knows what he's talking about. He knows what music to play. He knows the ambiance. He knows everything. And he knows how to troll. Like the media hates him, but he just always messes.
He's one of a kind.
Yeah,
he's one of a kind. I mean, these influencers with what's going on with these military influencers. How do you process that yourself? Where guys are coming out, for the longest time you're watching Tim Kennedy.
Yeah,
and Tim Kennedy, he's a man's man. Whatever they want to say about the Medal of Honor or whatever the challenge was with that, he's a man's man. He fought in the UFC. Any guy that wants to sit there and say you're a tough guy, go ahead and sit up against him, see what he says. But how much criticism and pressure is there from the actual community, the fraternity of guys that went at that level to hold each other accountable and be like, no, you never got that medal. Why are you saying that? Why are you over-exaggerated? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? How do you process that yourself?
Well, with Tim, not simply. If you're a black belt in jiu-jitsu and you won fights in the UFC, you're very accomplished. That's badass. His was a bronze star. Okay, there's two different bronze stars you can get. You can get a bronze star as an admin ward. You get a bronze star with valor for combat against the enemy. He's got a bronze star without valor. And I think on one podcast or two, he sort of said he had a bronze star with valor, which to me doesn't matter. I have 4 of those. I don't give a shit. But then they started making a big deal out of it. He started fighting back, and then the book he wrote and other guys. I took him at face value. I've never worked with Tim. I know him well, and I think the world of him. I think he's a great guy with a big heart, family guy, UFC. I'm certainly not going to tell him face to face, hey, you're not a tough guy. But yeah, I mean, I've heard stories that there are dudes in his unit saying, hey, you need to just chill out a little bit with this, because it seems, I wasn't with him at all. It seems that kind of a fishing story came about, like he's sitting on talking like we are and kind of embellished a little bit. And then, you write about it in a book that gets approved. And if guys are telling you need to knock it off, you should probably knock it off if you're not telling the truth. So, but the vet on vet hate, I think, can be handled with a phone call and a face-to-face meeting. Instead of online, is a horrible idea to trash each other. I think that's the worst thing you can do.
Was this the one where, maybe I'm mistaking it with somebody else, where 3 guys sat there, they were calling somebody else. Was that one about Kennedy where they said, oh, okay, yeah, I remember that. So, because I know there's a handful of these guys that, there's one channel just flat out sits there and calls people out. What's this one say?
I don't even want to give him a platform.
Former friend called that under investigation for false claim and implying receive bronze. Controversy came to light July 2 after military community members scrutinized. Okay, that's the one that we're talking about. Yeah. So these 3 guys came out and they said he didn't. And I think Kennedy did apologize, if I'm not mistaken.
No, he apologized. Yeah,
he apologized.
But see, that's not enough to, when you're dealing with vultures like this who have probably survivor's guilt because they never did anything, they're going to do everything they can. It's like the whole crabs in a pot type thing. You pull one out the wrist, try to drag you down. And I mean, unfortunately, if you're not telling the truth, you got to remember a bunch of shit. And that just seems the case here. And with these, again, I'm thinking the long term here, whatever. We have a problem, like we're 50-year-old combat vets, we have our issues. Think about the 16-year-old kid who's going to graduate college in a few years and wants to join the military. He sees shit like this online. That's not going to say, oh yeah, I definitely want to be a part of that community. It's like, dude, you don't need to make it public. And certainly just because you're trying to get famous off trashing someone who is famous, it doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't register.
Yeah, I think they've gone after a few guys.
They have. I'm one of them.
He's one of them. You're one of them. Latrell, I believe
Yep.
they did at one point.
Yep.
Which one was that one? That one was, what movie was that?
Lone
With Latrell?
Survivor.
Lone Survivor with Mark Wahlberg, right? I think it was.
And you got to figure, too, the guys that are trashing him, they weren't even in the Army yet when Lone Survivor. I was on the mountain. I was there for that one, too. And simply saying his story is wrong, I would challenge, without a gunfight, you go to the Korengal Valley in the summer, just by yourself like he was. See how you handle it. Is this story not 100% like the movie? Probably not, because that's Hollywood. That is a scary place to be. And just Marcus broke his back and was buried alive for 2 days. Don't say he's a liar if you have no frame of reference. I wasn't even there with Marcus, but I was there at the time. I was awake for 3 days looking for him. And that's a hell of a mission.
You were looking for him for 3 days.
Yeah, I was actually one of the guys one of the last guys to see most of those dudes alive. Because I was at that safe house in Jalalabad, Afghanistan. This is June of 2005. And we had heard that the SEAL Team 10 and SEAL Delivery Vehicle Team 1 had guys there. They were inserting in the Korengal to look for Ahmad Shah. And my initial reaction as a young shooter is like, well, shit, I'm going to get on this mission. So we drove over. Plus, I know the guys. They had already inserted the snipers. And I remember talking to the team that eventually got killed on Turbine 3-3. I talked to Dan Healy, who's a senior chief at the time. I went to sniper school with him in 1998, and he's from New Hampshire. And we bullshitted. Good to see you. Hey, how about Sam Adams? How great is that beer? Shit like that. And we tried to get on the helo, whatever, and our command said, no, we're not. You get whatever. However happens. And we took the motorbikes back to the safe house. Have a good fight, guys. We'll see you later. And then the sun came up, and one of our bosses, who was a Ranger major at the time, said, hey, your boy just got fucked up. We got to go find him. And we found out a helo was shot down. They don't know if anyone survived. They thought Matt Axelson and Marcus Luttrell were alive. We got their cards that have like a picture and 3 sentences like, my first car was a Ford pickup that was blue. So that when you see him, you were going to know it's him. And then they wouldn't even fly us in. We had to find vehicles that we could steal, Humvees, donkeys, maybe some water, and drive as far as we can, then walk up to the crash site. And so we got up a certain place, and it's hot, it's humid, it's June in Afghanistan, and everyone around you wants to kill you. They eventually flew guys into the crash site. We turned around, went to Asadabad. The note came in, like even talking to the agency, because we got a note, and they said, well, we're not sure this is Luttrell. It might be a setup because he didn't cross the T's in his name. And we're like, yeah, but he got a social right. This is him. We got to go back. So we went back in, climbing these mountains that are just ridiculous. Like my only complaint about the movie is the mountains weren't steep enough because you're in New Mexico, not the Western Himalaya. So then we get up to the top. We're going back down. Rangers come in, got Marcus, flew out, and we're in a spot like, this is why because we still got to leave, and this is why training is so hard. Because if we wanted to quit right now, where the fuck are we going to go? We're just here, man. We're just here. This is it. And then to see guys that maybe join the later 3-4 years after that criticize him. It's like, why don't we talk about what you did instead of what he didn't? Be proud of yourself. Don't bash this guy. I mean, he's going through enough. His friends died right in front of him. That's a lot.
Yeah, it's a wild story.
Oh, it's incredible. And no one knows what happened unless you were there.
Right. It's the thing with this, with military, for guys that serve. It's you get, I remember when I'm talking to same guy I'm talking to you about Delta. I'm like, hey, why don't you tell the story? I can't. Why not? I don't even want anybody to know I serve. Why? Mm-hmm. Well, because, we made a pact.
Yes, they did.
So you don't want, it says, Pat, I'm telling you nothing. Write a book. No. What if you can make some, no, nothing. He didn't want to do anything about it. He didn't want to talk about it.
Delta's the best in the world about that.
Why is that though?
They are just really good. They're very prideful about the secrets of their mission and what they do together. They don't want anyone to know.
Why is that?
I don't know. They just respect it. Like I've been to their compound and they've got trophy cases and whatnot, but there's curtains over them. No one can see them unless you're a guest specifically, like from another unit. And then when everything's secure, they'll bring them up and you can see like Saddam's guns and shit like that stuff they did in Colombia. But then they put the curtains back down. They don't tell anyone anything.
Get out of here.
And even people say to me, they're like, yeah, silent professional. I'm like, Navy SEALs? No, we're not. Delta is the silent professionals, not us. We're, I mean, granted, there is stuff I don't say, but SEALs are not exactly known for being the silent professional. Delta is, and they're really good about it, and they're very professional.
Where does that come from, though? That has to come from the top in training, right?
History. So, just history.
Didn't the founder of Delta write a book about?
Charlie Beckwith, is that his name?
I think something like that.
Inside Delta Force, yeah, he did.
But he wrote a book about it, right? So, if the founder did that, then the rest of the guys don't. Who at one point said, guys, I don't care if the founder, I thought he wrote a book about it, if I'm not mistaken.
I think he wrote Inside Delta Force.
Didn't he live in Frisco, Texas, or somewhere in Texas? I thought he moved to like Frisco.
Yep, he died in Austin.
But he used to, did he ever live in Frisco, Texas, or Dallas, Texas? Can you see Dallas, Texas, or Frisco? Nothing?
No.
Interesting. Yeah, everybody would talk about how this guy wrote a book. But the Delta guys, you can't. They didn't.
They didn't like that. And I mean, to my friends who were at Delta or veterans from Delta, they were not happy with his book. But we've seen it with Richard Marcinko. He founded SEAL Team 6, and he wrote a book. He couldn't get it approved, so he wrote it based on fiction. And he was like, they would say, well, people up top would say bad things about him, but shooters loved him because he got in trouble for doing the right thing for his guys, getting the guns you need, getting you the plane tickets you need, doing the job you need to do. And he was loved. I don't really know. Well, Delta's so secretive. I don't really know what they think about him either. I'd work with Delta, and they're fantastic.
So what was the biggest thing that you sensed about them? You got Air Force, you got the paratrooper, you got all these other guys. What was about Delta that was different than everybody else?
My initial reaction to Delta, this is no bullshit. The first time I worked with them was when I would just checked into SEAL Team 6. My initial reaction was, that's Delta. I really hope I meet the guy who eventually kills Osama bin Laden. That would be so cool.
Because you thought it would be a Delta.
Of course they're going to get it. It's going to be in a landlocked country. Why would SEAL Team 6 get it? Delta's going to get it. I think we got it because they concentrated on Iraq and we stayed in Afghanistan.
Does everybody know, like, is the consensus, like, you know how in the NBA, you ask the current players who's the greatest player of all time, young kids will say LeBron, but a lot of guys will say Michael. Does everybody know tier one that Delta's the way to go?
I probably shouldn't say this, but you can tell Michael Jordan's the best because he's never said he is. And I'm not saying Delta's the best because they don't say they are. Because, I mean, if you ask me right now, we're better. Our tactics are better. We operate better. But pull a Delta guy, if you can get him here, he'll tell you the same thing about them. And they were awesome.
But if somebody watches this right now, the way you describe Delta is that Delta's better than SEAL Team 6.
No, I didn't say that. No, we're better. I'm going to make that clear. Our tactics were better. I think we are.
Tactically.
Yes. Tactically, but they're gonna pick us apart too. Because our tactics were different. It's hard to say. They were awesome. And could be jealousy for me because they had this mission called Vehicle Interdictions, the VIs in Iraq on Little Birds. And you're just sitting on a bench on the outside of a helicopter that's so small. When you want to take off, you just put your thumb here and the pilot squeezes it, and then you're hunting people. That's cool. I was jealous. Like, why don't we get that? Come on, man. And that's where even some of the animosity. Well, they're not that good. Yeah, they are. But I mean, even working with them, it was such a good. Even with Delta and it was SEAL Team 6. What I loved about it was every single day I get to go to work with people who were better than me. And there was no undermining. Like, I'm going to take his position by fucking him. I'm going to find out. Like, even with guys that would outshoot me, which is rare, I didn't want to try to screw with him. I would find out, why did you move that pouch from here to here? Mm-hmm. What time do you wake up and when do you work out? Do you go to the range first or do you go to the gym? What are you doing? What do you eat? When you go to bed, what's making you shoot faster? Are you concentrating on from here to here and that's slow? Because slow is smooth, smooth is fast. Why are you so fast? And everyone did that. And so, I mean, so we'd work with Delta, have different styles of training, but then we'd cross it and find the better way. And we were good at, because we're in Eastern Afghanistan, they're in Western Iraq, we would compare, well, here was the standard operating procedures. Al-Qaeda knows what we're doing, sort of. How did they adjust and how did you readjust? And I got to tell my guys, so what's, just to be prepared to get there, what worked, what didn't. Delta got hit really hard because one of our Vietnam tactics was when there's an open door, wide open, run in there. We got to solve the problem. Al-Qaeda knew that from whatever they read. So they would have doors open. Some guys would run in. All of a sudden, there's 2 PKMs and they're shooting at them. So that's when we all figured out, okay, we got to slow the fuck down.
Who was most impressive in that with speed? Who did you see where you're like, holy shit?
Well, when I first checked into Red Squadron, because we finished selection for SEAL Team 6, and close quarters battle was our bread and butter. For us, combat comes down to an entry point. We're going to go here and we're fighting right there. We were just... we finished selection all based on close quarters battle, 9 months straight. And I thought we were fast because the way you want to train someone with CQB is white lights, loud music, fast as you can, because I want to see how you handle stress. You know, can you come to a situation, make a mistake and get over it? And we'll talk about it later. Or do you dwell on that and make a bigger mistake? So you do that with speed. But then with speed, you get everyone on point. And I checked into Red Squadron. I'm in with the train now with my squadron and they're gone. And I missed, like, where did they're just going through the house fast. So they were that fast. And by the time I got to work with Delta, we were already that fast. But then it wasn't a question of who can go faster, it's who can go slower. Who can talk less? Who can effectively communicate without talking. Because I would see guys in house, like even when I was training my guys, a Hollywood thing is you put a bomb on the door, fire in the hole, and you blast it. I'm like, look, stop yelling fire in the hole. If you see an operator put a bomb on the door, I need you to assume it's going to blow up in 3 seconds. Stop yelling. Why don't you just yell, here we are? I had a guy in training one time, he turned a corner, pointed up, and yelled, stairwell. And I said, look, I'm watching you, and you pointed up. I'm assuming you either ran into a stairwell or there's a 15-foot Al-Qaeda guy. Either way, we're going up. Shut up. And it's like when you're done saying what you're saying, stop saying it, get rid of the noise, and just read off each other. Because all that adds to is a confusion, which is good initially to see how you handle the confusion, then slow down. And then we actually started backing off of bullshit. Like we literally made it easier for us. We're going to stop with the lights. We're going to go quiet. We have night vision. I would even bring my guys into our kill houses when we had like a 4-story kill house, brand new, but they're through selection. So these are the best dudes the Navy has to offer us, and we're going to train them up. And in order to show them why it's better to go with night vision and quiet instead of running, because one of the attitudes was, well, we're going to get in a fight anyway. Let's get it on. It's like, all right, you're going to stand in the middle here, and here's your guy. Like we have simunition, which is like paintball. You guys stay in this room. 2 teams are going to come in and get you. You can shoot them whenever you see them, and then turn the lights off. Now my guys have night vision. And all of a sudden, boom, 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 they're all dead. It's like, see, that's why we go quiet. You knew they were coming. Now imagine if you're sleeping. You don't know they're coming. We're going to get you. This is how we win, so that's your lesson right there. You just got killed, you're dead. Now go do an hour worth of tire drags and come back.
But by the way, was the Maya girl our people? Was she CIA or
Yes.
was she Mossad?
She was CIA.
Did you deal with Mossad when you were out there or no?
Not intentionally, so maybe. Some of the intel possibly. But
Gather intel sharing. Like, wasn't it CIA and Mossad working
probably, but because we're going to be the guys going in the house, it's better to not be associated with Israel. That's it. Well, because even as a joke for messing with guys to make them scared and talk to us, like brought up a joke like, hey, can we like wear an Israeli flag on this mission? And like to hear a senior officer go, fuck no.
Why is that?
Yeah, just for fun. Like,
But what would the reaction be from the other side if they see you wearing an Israeli flag?
well, Al-Qaeda, because they don't know what we're going to do to them now. Because the Americans, at least, well, I scared the shit
what
out
a
of.
way to throw them off if you wear an Israeli flag.
That's what I said.
to say that, damn, Mossad's out here?
Yeah. And what are they going to do now that they have me? Maybe if I talk, they won't take me to wherever.
Did they fear Mossad like that?
Oh yeah. Well, I've seen
IDF
it. I've seen it before with cocky terrorists that spoke English. Because the way that I would set it up when I would do the interrogations, I'd put the guy right here. I'm right in his face, and my interpreter is right here. And we're going to talk this way. You look at me, listen to him. I don't want you two talking. I don't need some bullshit rapport. And I remember talking to one guy, and he said in English, "Dude, I know the deal. This terrorist." And I go, "Really? What's the deal?" He goes, "You're going to arrest me. You're going to send me to Abu Ghraib. I'm going to be out in 30 days. I'm going to kill more people, more of your guys." And so I said, "Oh, you've dealt with Americans then before, haven't you?" And he said, "Yes." I go, "Well, did they look like me?" And he kind of looked down. I'm wearing no body armor, short sleeves, tattoos, and a beard. And he looks at me and I go, "Oh, we're not here by accident. I'm here for you." And that scared him. But imagine if I had a Star of David on. That would have been badass. So just anyway.
Can you imagine just keep it?
Like rip
Throw
the
them
shirt
off.
off and it's
Wow.
yeah.
So when you saw the Iran deal, when the B-52 bomber, when they're going out there and the 3 facilities that we hit up, and by using the intel from Assad, working together, was that a project that Simon, you're like, I don't know if they're going to get this? Or was that something where it's like, no, we're going to be able to get it because we're working together collectively?
Yeah, I mean, that was the thing with me. I've been to war, and I'm kind of anti-war unless we're serious. Like with them, it was like, I don't want to see an invasion of Iran. I don't want to see troops going into Tehran. If you're going to hit this regime and their nuclear sites, hit them very, very hard, and then tell them no. Don't do that again. And now let's negotiate. Shit like that. That's how you should handle, I think, a war. And then
Looks like that's what he did, though.
Yes,
Yeah.
and it looks like it's working because I don't know where the Ayatollah is now. Is he out yet? Or
He's been missing for a while, and a lot of people are saying maybe,
Yeah.
the IRGC, and I think you commented on this about a couple weeks ago, right?
Probably.
Yeah. What do you think is going on with him missing?
Well, I want to say they have that silent coup, and then they're the people who are in place and the Iranian people. I don't think they're happy with the Islamic Revolution. I think they want what they had in 1978 back. And so I think that's hopefully, again, I'm not involved, that is slowly coming about, and they have a democratically elected government in Iran, because it can turn back into what it was. It can be a destination. I mean, it's beautiful. Even hiring contractors, I've had people say, yeah, I went rock climbing. I was in Iran. It was great. I'm like, I mean, it's great, but if they tell you you're a spy, it's a problem. But if you can have that back, get into the rock climbing, get into the fishing, the water, the sea, it's like, it could be a great, I hope that's going on now.
Yeah, it's going to be.
I'd love to hear your input on that, because you know more about it than me.
Well, the reality of it is, so who would like to see Iran fall? Who doesn't want to see Iran fall? Do they have the person? Who is the person? At least before, Khomeini was a guy from France that was causing a little bit of the ruckus in the Middle East, so they can go and leverage him. And he had so much momentum in the country. Millions of people are going in the streets, protesting, supporting Khomeini.
Mm-hmm.
They're not doing that for anybody right now. Not Reza Pahlavi. They're not doing it for any of the major Iranian names. There isn't anybody that's been able to produce that kind of loyalty while people are hitting the streets. Then a lot of people are saying, well, the reason why they're not doing that is because because we're telling them not to. But we have 50,000 people on our side. That's not how this works. When people really want a revolution and they're inside of it, you can't stop them. People are going to go out and they're going to protest. They're not. You need visually to show anti or support for somebody. That is the only thing you're going to be able to do. If you don't have, well, no, it's not safe for them to do it. I just don't think they have the right person right now.
No, they don't.
And no matter how many people, for many years, I've wanted Reza Pahlavi to be the person to do it, but I just don't think he's the right guy. And I think I've said this multiple times, he's a very nice guy, sweet man. But I think he's doing what he's doing to make his mom happy and his dad proud.
Really?
But deep down inside, I don't think he wants the job. So this is a very, very nasty job. This isn't for everybody. To be able to get there and get the job and lead certain people, they have to know you're just as capable as they are to get to certain levels that, they're willing to get to. When Trump got in, people said there's something wrong with this guy. He is willing to push the envelope as much as we can. We believe his threats. Nobody believes, a lot of people's threats right now with Iran. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I can tell you, Israel probably wants somebody to go out there and do it. Israel tried to help Reza Pahlavi to go out there and get some attention, but the U.S. hasn't yet gotten behind him, and he's going to need U.S. to get behind him to give some kind of a support, some kind of a retweet, some kind of a thing. Hasn't happened. Maybe it's going to happen next few months. Maybe it's going to happen. Hasn't happened yet.
Is there an infrastructure in place where they can have elections yet?
Oh, no way.
I didn't think so.
No way. No way. No. What's in there right now is, it's a war right now. Who's going to be replacing the spiritual leader, Khamenei, and who's going to take? No. It is a very, very different situation there right now. Very.
Well, because I just think from reading and stuff that when the Islamic Revolution started, it sounded great to them until they saw what it actually was. Because not everyone in Iran's Muslim. Is that right?
No.
But if you talk to the normal person on the street, they think it's a bunch of jihadis.
Great people, by the way.
Yeah,
great people. Yeah. No, but to me, I had the founder of IRGC here a year ago, 9 months ago. Wow. He came in here. We did an interview. He walked in, and they're all like, he's like, what do you want to talk to me about? I said, what do you think I want to talk to you about? Like, I'm from Iran. You're the founder of Islamic Revolutionary Guard, right there. Mohsen Sazgara, right? If you look at the affiliation, he was the founder of IRGC.
No kidding.
Yeah, with Khomeini. So he was the guy that would open up all the tapes that he sent to Iran to create the revolution.
Wow.
This is one of the guys that caused Iran to fall, this guy. And it was a fascinating conversation.
No, I'm sure it was.
He himself never thought it was going to get as nasty as he did. And then obviously eventually, till today, a lot of people don't trust the guy, saying he's still connected to it.
Well, he's giving them reason not to trust him.
Yeah. But we'll see what's going to happen. Did you ever work with the IDF or no? Did you ever?
No.
Never did.
No, maybe ones and twos. I know they came to our compound in Virginia Beach a couple times. I was never there with them.
Got it.
I've discussed some stuff with them, since I've been out.
Was there any other military or, tier 1 military unit that you work with that's not U.S. based where you said, holy shit, they got their shit together?
Special Boat Service, SBS in the UK. They're incredible. And I love them because Well, I mean, they're Royal Marines and then our equivalent of Navy SEALs. So Special Boat Service. What I loved about them was I realized that Brits are, because I'm a huge believer in morale. Keep morale up, have a sense of humor about everything. Never lose your sense of humor. And the Brits had the same sense of humor, but just a little different. And I describe them as like a piano. They're the sharp keys. Like, I get it. It's a little off, but you're funny. And they were just great. And their tactics were awesome. They taught us, they called it FIBUA, fighting in built-up areas. We call it military operations, urban terrain. But they learned from fighting in Northern Ireland tactics of, walking down streets and where you aim and stuff. Just a shitty fight, obviously, the Irish and Northern Irish and the Brits. And even when I started training at SEAL Team 2, when I first checked in, I didn't understand why one of the SBS guys hated three of us. It was O'Neill, Brennan, and Brennan. And they hated us because we're Irish. I didn't, from my time, like, why would you hate the Irish? But working with them overseas, a lot in Iraq, a lot in southern Afghanistan, in Kandahar, and those dudes just have their shit together. They're excellent. They're just hard as you come.
Serious, humor.
The humor's great, but they're serious. They're hostage rescue snipers, close quarters battle. The water, they're like us, over the beach, over the horizon, shitty cold. Misery loves company. And it's like almost a Viking shit. When the worse the seas, the more they're laughing. Can't say enough about. I've worked with the Special Air Service as well, and the Australian SAS. Great guys. I have a lot. I just have love for the SBS because I worked with them so much. So they were incredible. You know who else was really good is the Norwegian Jaegers, and yeah, they're really good. And but they don't get a fight a lot because they're government. But we go up there and hang out in Norway. Skiers, phenomenal. Rock climbers, phenomenal. Tactics are awesome. And what's funny about them?
They're like super soldiers, physically in shape.
Well, physically it was funny because they're from Norway, so they're all tan, blue. Like, I'm not gay or anything, but check this dude out. So, dude. But it was funny though. They came to Virginia Beach to train with us, and they said, "Well, you guys have been rolling through Oslo, picking up our chicks. We're in Virginia Beach. It's go time for us."
Revenge. We're gonna come take yours.
But again, that sense of humor and just phenomenal, dude. The German comp stormers were great. The combat divers, the best in the world, probably. But yeah, we're solid. SBS those, but there's an affinity for them.
Yeah, there's it's always where like if you look at basketball, these guys are coming from Serbia. These countries that are coming. You're like, who is Joe? Who is this guy? You're moving that slow, but you're making it look so easy. Luka, why do you guys? The way he goes in so slow. But you're averaging 30 points, 10-10. How are you doing this? It's just a very different game.
Have you seen the interview when they said, "Well, were you at all disturbed by the booing?" And he says, "I played in Serbia, brother." And they show that. My God, it looks like a European football match.
It's the best. Anyways, brother, this has been great. I can probably speak to you for another few hours, but I'm getting texts. I got at 3:30. They're waiting for me on the other end. But I really enjoyed it. I'm glad we did this. And is there anything you're working on right now that you want the audience to know about?
Yeah, I'm. My podcast is called the Operator Podcast. And I put that out usually every week, depending on my travel schedule. And I call it the operator because I'm not calling myself that. What I'm saying is I'm an operator, but so is everyone doing anything to help anyone else that doesn't get credit. Like I always bring up the trash man in Manhattan who wakes up at 2 a.m, no thanks, he cleans Manhattan. The single mom is an operator. So what I do is I tell you my opinion as an operator, and as an operator, I want you to tell me what you think. And unlike a lot of people, if you tell me I'm wrong, and I am, I'll admit it. So the Operator Podcast is a big one. In New York, I just started the Operator Canna Company, cannabis, for, again, sleep, PTSD. Cannabis gets a bad rap. A lot of psychedelic stuff, but robertjoneil.com. I just started the Operators Collective, which is sort of, it's not a speaking agency, but it's presentations. Everything from black belts in jiu-jitsu to SEALs to Dakota Meyer, who I mentioned, is a Medal of Honor recipient Marine. If you just need someone to show up and motivate or do training or anything like that, we just started it, so we're not even sure what it is.
Are you on Manek, by the way? Because people.
I am right now. Just heard
you're
about
on Manek.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Okay, so Manek, our audience is definitely going to reach out to you.
Love it.
Shipley and Cole got on it, and boom, nonstop people reaching out, doing stuff with them. So, but we're going to put the link below to your website on how to find you, and we're going to put the link to your podcast as well. By the way, a story just came out that you may want to. Rob, share the story with them about how trashmen in certain jobs are more comfortable with their lives and they're better at under pressure because they don't worry about what people think about their jobs. Give it to them afterwards. I think you'll be able to share that with some of the podcasts that you're doing.
Yep.
My man, this was great, brother. So much. Again, thank you for your service.
Of course,
I enjoyed it.
Thank you for
having me.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Hey, what is up? This is Robert J. O'Neill, former SEAL Team 6 operators. I was fortunate to be on some of the most high-profile missions in our very long war on terror, but I am now on Manek, and you can connect with me there, and we can literally talk about anything. You can text, we can do video calls, I can give you messages, and go to Menect, find me. Literally nothing is off limits. Any crazy questions you have that you may or may not want the answers to, I'm more than happy to do it. So find me on Menect. Again, this is Robert J. O'Neill. See you there.